right. Hello and welcome to Ship Show. Let me make sure I think Scott might be muted. Let me find him here. No, you should be good. Scott, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I think I'm going to boost your volume just a tiny bit. Let me get a little sound check there.
Hey.
Hey, that sounds pretty good. Okay. I think we're doing
Butts
pretty
and
well.
butts.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's what it's going to be like tonight. PG plus,
Yeah.
I think, or whatever.
That's what the B and black ship's for. Not
That's
for
right.
black. It's for butts.
That's right. Wixatron says, does Lushun count as a black ship? Yes, it does. We're going to talk a little bit about some of that too. So I think we're going to just get right started because there's a lot of ships to talk about. We are here. We've talked about doing a black ship show before, but we haven't really done one. One of the reasons we didn't initially was because these are all ships for money. And we've covered a lot of the free ships. We've covered steel ships. We did research bureau ships. We did tech tree cruiser lines at one point. Those are free ships as well. We did like a year in review, which had some dub ships in there in the past, but black ships we kind of steered clear of initially, just saying, hey, like this is all ships for money. I will say black ships are discounted from the full prices that Wargaming offers them at. And then I know last year there was a whole lot of kerfuffle with some ships weren't available for dubs. They were only available for money, and people were kind of rubbed the wrong way by that. And this year that's still true. But we've also had an event that's really provided a lot of free doubloons to people. So I think, Scotty, you came and pitched this. You said, hey, maybe we should do a Black Friday ship video or ship show, because we haven't done a ship show in a while. It's seasonal. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
It's seasonal, and it covers a wide swath of old, sometimes, frankly, ancient ship.
Yes.
And it covers a wide swath, and ultimately, this can be something in the catalog where if anybody's ever interested in your or my stupid opinions on a bunch of stuff, because some of these ships we've talked about, some of them are coal ships, right? So
yeah.
I think like we've talked of there's a good number of them, in fact, that are coal ships that we've already talked about. But yeah, so I think that's was kind of the thought process. And it was like, we haven't done this for a while, and we were looking for a reason to do one and have a basis for the conversation other than just like, I think maybe the last one we did was that like was it like a 2024 like premium ship recap maybe we did?
I think so, yeah. And it was a little bit like kind of like I was just like grinding snowflakes or something, and you were like, let's talk about ships. And so it was a little bit less formal like this one. And we always look for like kind of categories of ships to do, and this is just one we've never done. And so it was kind of I think a good idea to pull it together. So one of the first things I grab, and when we usually do one of these, I put together like a little metrics slide. And I haven't shared this with you because I made it like 20 minutes before the stream. And when I was done with it, I was like, okay, hey, Scott, check it out. We're going to be ready. So I counted up there 38 black ships. And look at that. I even got a capital H in the word ships that I didn't want in there. There's 38 black ships in WoWs. I think I got them all. Okay. We tried our best. I want to skip and look at the very last line in this little table. The purchasable total of all the purchasable ships, if you're using cash, is $1,716.29. That's if you buy the Puerto Rico bundle and get the bigger discount there, and you don't buy Rhode Island and the others individually. And then the doubloons total 373,000 doubloons and change. 373,000 doubloons is about $1,400 or 14 something. And that's because some of the boats, like I said earlier, you can only buy for cash, right? And Wargaming's doing that to get an infusion of new money into the game, because doubloons are not new money. And a lot of the doubloons that are in the community right now were freely earned, right? So in a way, there's a lot of people who are going to be getting free Black Friday ships this year. And that's another reason I think it's worth going and doing that. Thanks, Useless. I'll take care of you. I promise. Shoot me a whisper there, and we'll be good to go. Anyway, so with that, we've got a number of those dubs or dollars. It's a lot. If you actually bought all of these ships at full face value, it's a big cost. And then I broke them out there by nations, classes, and tiers. Not surprised that tier 8 is the most popular tier. I was kind of surprised by the number of American and Japanese ships. There's a ton of those. Of course, German ships don't surprise me too much. And then no black submarines yet, which I thought was intriguing as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised like this year they didn't slip in like I-56 or S-189 as a black sub, since those are 2-3 years old now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm suspecting we'll get a black sub at some point, right? But
It'll
for
probably be
today,
Alliance.
gosh, it's already black. Not
Mm.
only not only is it Alliance, but it's already a black painted sub. All they got to do is put a white number on it or whatever. Yeah, Archerfish B would make sense because it's a high dollar one.
No, it'd be U4501B would be the first one they do, because it's the most played, because it's for coal, and they'd still get people to buy it for money.
Yeah, and actually that's going to be a conversation as we get into the ships. Maybe we should jump into that now. But I thought
Sure.
I'd throw this out there. And again, nothing below tier 6, nothing above tier 10. Just some numbers out there, just because we always like numbers on this channel. But okay, so the way I've got this set up is I've used Selectomatic to just bring up the pictures of the ships. I've set them up to run in alphabetical order. And so we're starting off with Alabama. So it's not the oldest ship. Time order would have been interesting too, but Scott, do you want to take a crack at Alabama? And I'm going to send out some fresh codes because I guess those.
Yeah, like Alabama came out. So Alabama B was introduced last year based on the picture, since it has the updated style of black camo that features that Damascus print that was new last year. But Alabama itself, as far as the ship goes, that's been around for quite a number of years. It's an older U.S. Tier 8 premium battleship, South Dakota class, the same as Massachusetts. Relatively, plays relatively like North Carolina, just as a premium. Alabama doesn't have really any gimmicks, so to speak. I don't think it's pretty much standard battleship. I should know. I have a few of them. Like Alabama B. I've got like a Alabama. Right. One of the ships they give like volunteer programs is like a special Alabama. So like I have an Alabama for being a tester. Clyde has an Alabama for being a CC. Didn't they just recently clone it again for some reason? I can't remember. I feel like they were doing something else with Alabama recently, but yeah, I mean it's fine. What's the, like, if you were to buy the Alabama B during this event, it's how much money do they? Why can't I see it here in the armor? I'm looking in the armory here.
There's
and
a
I don't
tab at the top if you want to look for cash money prizes.
I'm looking on the specials. Maybe it's not listed in this grouping. That seems weird. I thought it would have been
7,900 doubloons.
Yeah, I'm on the money only one,
$30.
and I maybe it's not available for money only because it's just too good.
I don't know if I think that's true.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I don't see it on the cash side, and that was something I thought was
weird
when I was doing.
There's some weird variances in the armory on how they have made certain ones available. That's for sure. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, do you like standard American tier 8 battleship play with relatively good guns that have relatively slow shells?
Yeah.
Then Alabama B might be the ship for you.
Yeah.
I would contend there's a lot of other things if you were going to spend money. I think there's like there might be some coupons or something during the event. I'm not totally sure, but I would contend if you were going to spend money on a tier 8 premium, this wouldn't be the one I would leap for. I think there's a lot of other stuff that is a little more interesting than this, and I think you can replicate the play of this with getting yourself a free North Carolina.
You really can, and that's the problem with Alabama, is it doesn't bring anything that feels particularly unique. I imagine if we poured over all the stats, we'd find something, right, that made it special. Seasonets in chat says I think it has the slowest battleships shells at the tier. I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, great, we found something unique. but like you said, it feels like playing North Carolina. I know that it's not the same class, but it feels kind of similar. And when you're looking at your 32 or $33 worth of doubloons, like you said, there are other black ships, I think, where you can put that money that is going to give you a more unique play experience. And we'll certainly talk about ships like Massachusetts and others a little bit later on.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, and the only thing here, this is like one that isn't like also a coal ship or also some other thing. So
That's true.
this is like a doubloon ship only. So like if you live in Mobile, Alabama, or your great grandpappy was on the Alabama and you've got a real exciting interest in the ship, maybe you get this version so you save a few bucks.
And
But,
Alabama, I think, is a
you know,
real. It's a museum ship that you can visit, I believe, today. Like you can go and
Yeah,
walk on
cool.
the deck of Alabama. So again, like you say, if there's a personal connection and you're a collector for those reasons, like and
Yeah.
the B ship looks cool. Like you said, it's Damascus steel
Yeah.
variant.
But as
Yeah.
far as like gameplay goes, like, yay, whatever. Like,
And Soliman points out this. You go, excellent torpedo protection, strong AA, good maneuverability, and those are kind of the hallmarks of a typical American battleship, right? Maybe not the torpedo protection in particular, because I do believe it does have a slightly higher percentage there. Now that
Yeah.
that's been stated, I feel like that's true.
I-
But even so, like,
in 2025, there's just so many other ships that are more fun, and I just think that like even 5 years ago, Alabama as a premium was pretty boring, and then last year they're like, let's make a B version, and it's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, that was another reason I think we didn't do the Black Friday ship last year. Is they offered up a bunch of Black Friday ships that we were like, really, those are the black ships this year? We're not so interested in those.
And
It was
and I'm
very exciting.
I'm glad we're talking about all of them because I'm not going to have great things to say. A lot of these ships are duds. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know.
There are going to be some that are just like, well, okay, you can skip this.
Yeah.
And Alabama might be one of those. Again, not a bad ship. It plays like an American battleship. American battleships are good. It just doesn't really ring the unique extra fun bell. But I don't know. I feel like that's kind of the speech on Alabama at this point.
Yeah.
Let's jump.
I was ready to move on 3 minutes ago. So let's go.
Thanks. What about Alaska B? Here she is, and I apparently have cut off the image slightly. I'll take a look at that here.
Well, this is an opposite scenario, right? So
it really is. Yeah.
Alaska was a free XP ship, wasn't it?
Originally.
So back in the day, kids, you could exchange free XP for ships like Missouri and Musashi, and I'm pretty sure Alaska. And then they were like, those are good. We shouldn't do that. And they created the Research Bureau where you could exchange free XP in multiples much higher to try to get these things. And the ships aren't as cool. Right, and doubloons, and the ships aren't as cool. But Alaska B was one of this is like, I remember this being one of the really early B ships when they started doing the B ship stuff. This is one that's like, hey, I only can get Alaska via Santa crates, which is probably like a harder roll in the Santa crate boxes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For sure.
Or I can buy it during the black ship sales, and it's a discount, but it's a tier 9, so it's still relatively expensive. I mean, like the economy of the pixel boats being what it is, but as far as the ship, it's a fun ship to play. Probably still, there's some drawbacks to it in 2025 that I don't think were there when I started playing in 2019. The ship felt more powerful then.
Just in terms of comparison to what it's up against now.
I mean, everything's crept, right? But it's still, super tanky, real. This is a real ship,
that's cool.
305 millimeter big American guns, radar, like long, 10-kilometer long duration American style radar. The downsides on this ship are like you get like long fire duration, which never used to be a big deal because you used to be able to build the captain for fire prevention, but then they changed captains since the ship's out. Now you can't do that on cruisers. So I find that more than anything is probably like a big nerf to this type of ship that had took place where you can't do anything about it. You just soak fires. So that's a bummer. But this is still Alaska's still really strong. Its guns are still really good. It's still very tanky. And it's a pretty fun ship to have. And this is probably the most affordable way to get one now. So this would be like, if you're, when people talk about, well, Black Friday's coming and you can get an Alaska, this is, that's why.
No, absolutely. And that's definitely true where there are some of these Alaska ships, these black ships that are unavailable now. Um, that were not that you can pretty much only get in the Black Friday ship um selection and or in random boxes. It's one of the only ways you can buy them in a direct way. Alaska, like you said, big 305 millimeter guns. It hits hard. The radar lasts forever. It's 10 kilometers, which is great. Yes, you suffer from fires and things like that, but very strong ship. In comparison to the Tier 10 four turret version Puerto Rico, this one maintains like cruiser accuracy or battle cruiser accuracy.
Yeah, this has battle cruiser dispersion, and that's the thing that sucks about Puerto Rico is the battleship dispersion.
Right, exactly. And so it's just a little bit more usable and functional, and it just feels more maneuverable, and it works well. Stronger at tier, I think, than that one. And we'll get to that ship a little bit later because it's now also in this list. But yeah, I think Alaska is really a tough one to beat. The challenge with Alaska is it is one of those boats that's only available for real money. You can't buy
I wonder why.
We can't buy this one for doubloons because you can't buy it any other way, right? And so they're looking to they're pigeonholing you in there. They want you to insert some new money into the old World of Warships machine. But if you're gonna buy one ship and you've got this much money budgeted, it's not too bad. I can't remember how much this one costs. But I'm sure it's
$74.11 in these United States.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, 74, $75. There you have it. There you go. So that's Alaska. We like Alaska though. Let's take a look.
Yeah, this is like, we're not doing a tier list or anything, but like this is one of the ones that's in the upper echelon of these ships because Alaska itself is just so generally good.
Yeah, and I think at the end we'll be like, all right, pick your favorite five, pick one from each tier. We'll do some silly thing like that where we talk about our favorites. But I'm gonna scoot us to our next one. Asashio. Oh, Asashio. I have a hard time in Asashio. I'm no Allosaurus Rex, Twitch.tv's own, sweetheart, neighborhood sweetheart. But Asashio and I don't get along because when I spawn in an Asashio, I don't get to torpedo battleships because it's all radar cruisers and destroyers on the enemy team. It feels like Asashio is a very strong ship. She's hard to get any other way. Similar to Alaska. You can buy her here, or you can hope to get her out of a random box at certain times of the year. Very good concealment, 5.4, I think, or 5.6. It's very low.
Like 5.4.
I think it's
pretty sure.
I think you're right. And then, but it's got the deep water torpedoes that only can hit aircraft carriers and battleships. So the guns are really punchy, but the reload is long and the turret rotation is slow. So while you won't win a gunfight, if you're coming up on a full health gunfight, if you're coming up on a low health gunboat destroyer and you can get off a real strong salvo, you can take a big enough chunk out of folks that you can sometimes still survive. You got smoke, right? So if you can pop that shot off, pop your smoke and do things, you can sometimes get away. But she's really designed around devastating battleships and aircraft carriers. She's really strong. It's kind of for me, it's really hot and cold in battles. I have a hard time having consistent, reliable games in Asashio. But with that concealment at tier, she's just really, really impressive in a min-maxed kind of way, at least. I don't know what your experience is with Asashio. I don't ever see you playing this boat, so I'm going to guess that she's not one that really excites you in a direct way, but maybe I'm not.
I surprisingly have fond memories of the original Asashio. It was actually one of the early, not the black version, it was actually one of the earlier premiums that I got. I think years ago, the event they would do in the summertime was good. And they would do this thing where they'd be like every day for like a week, they'd be like, okay, today, if you buy this tier 7 or tier 8 premium, and you'll also get 2 premium ship containers at the same tier with it.
That was like a very good event. I remember this.
It was a really good deal. I leaned in on that event that first summer that I was playing the game, and I bought every day on that. I bought the deal. And I believe I got because I remember I was just getting destroyers out of the crates. And I was like, oh, this sucks, because I didn't play destroyers then. But I got Asashio very early. And I remember having a wonderful game in that Asashio where I snuck, early in the game using the concealment, snuck through like the middle of a map through the enemy lines and went towards the carrier with those torpedoes and just was having a good time. Ultimately, as progressed in gameplay styles and stuff, I think I would still enjoy playing this, but again, you run into that trouble of like, it always feels like if I was to play this, that you get in that game that's like, there's one battleship and 6 cruisers and
Six
a bunch of
Alaskas, right? Like
and a bunch of radar gunboat DDs, like, and so you're just like, wah wah. But the funny thing with this being at tier 8, and I always kind of, this is one of those ships that they pulled. Like, you can't get Asashio anymore.
That's right.
It's only in crates. It's not available for general sale. I'm not really sure why it was pulled. I never really felt like Asashio was like super mega powerful, but
No.
ultimately you would get in these games with it where you're playing in an 8 and you luck out and be top tier, and you're running around with these murderous torpedoes for battleships. And you're against, like New Mexico's and like
when you're top tier, it's absurd. Yeah.
And like those, and the torpedoes go like what, 15?
It's a long ways. Yeah.
They're really long range. They're like the same wackadoo torpedoes they put on Kitakami, I thought, but they go a long range and they're very hard. They have really low spotting. Like, you don't get much reaction time to them.
Right. Yeah.
And they hit like a truck. And it has torp reload booster and smoke and a speed boost. And so, if you end up in the right matchmaking, you can be a real jerk in this boat. I remember a game playing Atlantico where a Asashio was just shadowing me and just dumping torps at me, and I could never spot him because I couldn't go fast enough and I had no help. And I just remember thinking how maddening it was.
It's almost like fighting a submarine in that game.
Yeah.
Like,
so if in 2025, if you wanted to be like, I don't know if I ever really see a lot of these boats. Well, just imagine you're playing any game where there's 3 Jaegers, and you can't see them because they have really low concealment, and they're just like, they're spotting you, except the torpedoes, like if you're in a battleship, the torpedoes hurt really bad.
And the difference
and
between
that's kind of the jam here.
Sorry to cut off.
No, go ahead.
There. But the difference between these two boats really is availability, right? You talked about how this boat's not available, and Jaeger is just ridiculously available. I think the same players who enjoy a Jaeger would enjoy this boat. There's a unique challenge there where you can't torpedo destroyers and cruisers anymore. But like Jaeger, right, the guns are not the primary feature, but unlike Jaeger, these ones will work in a pinch. And we talked about Alabama. It's not the most unique or exciting ship or whatever, but here's Asashio, which has weaknesses but also has strengths and is unique, and it is kind of special. So, like, again, for somebody who's looking to bring something to their port that they don't already have, Asashio could be a pick for.
I mean, ultimately it's like, what is this, like a Kagero or a Shiratsuyu? I can't remember what it is, but it's basically the same as like
It looks like a Shira kind of,
like the tier 7, tier 8, but it's at tier 8. It has really low concealment, and you have these crazy deep water torps, and then you have really slow turning guns. The guns actually do hit hard, like most Japanese torpedo boats that have slow reload HE. The HE hurts. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a more interesting play style. It's relatively affordable. I don't know how many people are waiting around for Black Friday to get their hands on this, but it is one of the ships that's unavailable. And so if you are interested in torpedo boats, this might be the boat in Black Friday that is interesting to you, just because it really kind of is I don't think there's a whole lot of torpedo DDs in this event.
Right. Yeah. Asashio comes out $37. I believe it is one of the ones you're not able to get for doubloons, just talking price wise.
Yeah. Asashio and Mass and John Bart and Alaska are all clumped together because they're all the ones that you can only, they're not available. They're all pulled from the game. And this is how you can get them. Yeah.
And I think, like you said, you're not sure how many people are chomping at the bit or champing at the bit to get this one. I think a lot of people who wanted this boat bought it already, but if you're newer to the game and you've never heard of Asashio, you've never seen one in a game, that might be kind of interesting to you. The in-game tooltip points out that Asashio is its own class of destroyer, but it's built on top of the Shiratsuyu class. So it's a modernization of that for any naval historian nerds there. But But I think that's a pretty good summary of Asashio. I think we kind of covered a lot of the points there.
Hmm.
Worth picking up if you're looking for that kind of gameplay. I don't think you'd be sad about it, but do know that you're going to get some of those games where, there's one battleship, he's on the other side, and then you've got two Alaskas and a Mainz that are going to come hunt you down. And that's going to be a tough game for you. It will happen. Atago, do you want to kick us off with Atago? We both like this one, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Atago is this the oldest premium?
It's either
One of the
Atago
oldest.
or Tirpitz are like the two oldest.
I know Tirpitz is super old too. So Atago is just like
early days.
Atago in itself, and I assume you can still get normal Atago, although now with the whole like we take things out of the store, we bring things back to the store rotation stuff, maybe not. But
Yeah.
so Atago is a Tier 8 IJN heavy cruiser with 203 millimeter guns. Cool things about Atago are, as far as a Tier 8 cruiser goes, that it has a heel, which is nice. A lot of Tier 8 cruisers don't. And relatively stealthy, great guns, kind of an interesting gun layout. Good Japanese, torpedo armament. Relatively tanky ship, although you can catch some weird citadels in it.
Oh yeah.
But I always felt like this ship was probably like tougher than Mogami.
Yes, I think she's got a slightly better layout than Mogami. That's for sure.
But yeah, and I think Atago is, again, it's a fun ship. It's one that even during like when they do like Tier 8 clan battles, you'll see Atagos come out because it's a pretty good all-arounder. You can throw hydros on it and stuff, but the guns are effective. AP and HE on it, both really effective, and it's a fun ship.
Yeah, I think Atago is great, and I think one of the things that makes it feel tankier, even in cases where maybe it's not, is that it does have that heel you mentioned. A heel and a cruiser at Tier 8, especially an old cruiser, is great. You said it's got good guns. I think you're 100% right. It is a heavy cruiser, so they are 203s. And the HE Alpha is really strong on it. It will absolutely slap up a destroyer, but it can also sit there and farm battleships. It can farm cruisers. Pretty much any target that comes up within your gun range, if you've got a line on it, Atago's guns are good for taking it out. And the AP works too. Concealment's really low on it. It's, I think, sub 10 all built together, or all built up. Again, despite being as old as it is, there's a lot of old boats that don't really hang in a modern game. Atago still can, and you'll see it in ranked and things like that too. You mentioned clan battles, which some clans will definitely bring it out for clans. I don't know that you'll see it in every team, but you will see it in ranked. People will take it into ranked just because they know that they'll pop up on a destroyer and bring a swift end to that kind of ship.
Yeah, just in general, looking at server statistics for on ship tool for the 14.7 to 14.9 patch, as far as Japanese cruiser play in North America, Atago still comes in number 7, right? So
yeah, that's pretty good for a ship that's 10 years
that's
old.
pretty good. Yeah, right. Like there's a lot of other Japanese ships on this list, and I don't know where that rank. I'm not going to look at like against everything at tier, tier, but just as far as people who are like, I'm going to go play a Japanese cruiser, Atago's still in the top 10, and that to me speaks to how it's either a lot of people have it because it's been around a long time.
This is certainly a factor.
Or in general, though, it still is effective. Its play is still, positive, and it still has an effective play style. It still fits in today's game, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have an Atago, this is a way to get one at a discounted price. You might also just consider using like the quarterly coupon on a doubloon version if it's still available, because I think that would make it similarly cheap.
It probably would. So you get a 30% discount on the black version from the regular. So it's a slightly better deal.
So it's a little better discount,
but not much, right? I mean, and what that means is it's a good deal all year round when you've got a Dubs coupon, right?
Yeah.
But it's $31.64 US. Again, obviously, I understand not everybody's using US currency, but it's the price that the client is quoting to me. And you could get it for Dubs too. And if you got free Dubs, these last couple of months, like many of you did. If you're watching a stream, you almost certainly got free doubloons. Then there's another good choice there. And it's not quite, it's not a tier 8 Zhao, right? It feels a little tankier than Zhao. It feels a little stealthier than Zhao. It is
Yeah, it doesn't have
different,
the
but
range of Zhao.
it doesn't have the range of Zhao. That's a good point too. But it does have kind of some of those vibes. So if you like the accuracy of Japanese cruisers, which are very, very accurate, and people, the first thing that comes up with any Japanese cruiser is how they're frail and they take damage, and that is generally true. Atago does feel a little bit sturdier, and the thing that we often ignore is that accuracy. And with the guns that we talked about are so great. But
This is one too where outside of the Black Sail, there's also multiple clones of this. So there's like Atago of this. There's the Arcticao.
yes.
What's the other one? There's like a blue one and a red one, right? There's like another Art Maya.
Maya's harder to get, but like if you
Maya's harder to get, and not to be confused with the normal premium Maya, which is a tier down and is a similar ship, but not the same as the tier 8 Atago.
Yeah, and C's points out there's Tone. Tone does feel a little bit different than Atago, but she's definitely a variation on the theme, right? And that's the hybrid one that has the torpedo planes as well. But again, for Atago, I think this is an easy. This is one of my favorite ships in World of Warships in general. So it's just so easy to say, yeah, that's a good one. If you've been considering it, you're on the fence about it, whatever. It's a safe bet. You'll be happy with it if you like what we've been talking about. If what we've been talking about sounds like, wait, that doesn't sound like Massachusetts at all. Well, it's not. So go get something else. But I think Atago is just a good boat. We'll jump into our next one here just to kind of keep trucking along. This is Atlanta B. Now, Atlanta is another really old premium. By the way, every ship we've talked about so far is American or Japanese, it seems. But Atlanta B comes in tier 7. This is so tier 7 black ship. And she's exactly like the Atlanta that you know and love if you already are familiar with it. So short range radar with longer US duration, lots and lots and lots of DD guns. You'll find Atlanta is a really popular pick for ranked at tier 7. Partly it's because of that radar, but the DPM doesn't hurt either. And a lot of ranked maps feature pretty good island cover. And so Atlanta winds up being an excellent choice for that. I feel like I want to kind of poke at you a little bit because there was a time when you were a new player and you asked me and one of our clanmates, Heavy McD, hey, I could either get Scharnhorst or Atlanta. What should I get? And I was non-committal, but was like, I don't know, man. I mean, and the other guy said, you should totally get Atlanta, bro. And then you did not like Atlanta at first, but since then, have you come around on that type of cruiser? Have you come around on Atlanta?
Yeah.
Or did you stay not a fan? Because initially you were like, no, thank you.
I mean, I'm fine with Atlanta now, but I mean, I also know how to play the game now. This is a hard first point. This was my very first premium I bought was Atlanta off that recommendation. And we went into a game where I think both of us were playing it and we both got dumpstered. I think we all got dumpstered before minute 5. It was awesome.
It was terrible. You were so mad.
Yeah, I was like, well, this is no fun. But like,
you guys are the worst.
It's an ultra, it's an ultra light cruiser. You have to understand what you're doing and not put yourself in positions where you're going to get annihilated by battleships or even heavy cruisers or even destroyers. Quite frankly, there's a fair number of destroyers that can citadel this thing too.
Oh, for sure.
But it's if you know how to, if you have an understanding of positioning, which I did not, it can be used quite well, and you can fire these little guns over islands. You can mess with destroyers with it. It is a radar ship at tier 7, which isn't common, and so it does have a lot of utility. There's a lot of ships, now in the game. At the time, it was Atlanta and Flint that were this kind of ship. And now, there's San Diego and there's Austin and there's Jinan and there's Sejong, and they're all kind of variations on what this is. And so, but this one's quite a bit older. But at tier 7, if you're comfortable with ultralight cruiser play and with relatively short range, I mean, like pretty short range. I think back then when I got it, you could still boost the range on everything. And again, that's another captain skill change that you can't do that with these anymore. But this ship can be fun to play. I do think I agree with you when you say, oh yeah, like tier 7 ranked and stuff. I can see this ship get used in those kind of capacities because of the sensors, because of the DPM, even the torpedoes, even though they're only like 4 kilometer or 4.5 kilometer torpedoes, you get like a good little torpedo punch there that hits pretty hard. So yeah. But I appreciate it for what it is now, but no, when I got it, I did not enjoy it. I was unhappy with my purchase.
and with your friends. But I
Mhm.
want to bring up, I wanted to bring that up, not so much to tease you, but to
No,
for anybody who's in that same boat, right? If you're new to the game, this is kind of a tough learner, right? If this is going to be one of your early premiums, I think Atlanta can be a really tough pick. She is very frail, no armor. You mentioned getting Citadel by destroyers. That's going to happen to you for real. It is a boat that as you grow in capability and skill and comfort with this type of play, as you mentioned, I think it's going to be a really strong ship that you'll have in your port. So it isn't going to be a boat that you hate forever if you're struggling with it. Maybe you already got it out of a box, and you're newer and you're like, "What? This sucks. I don't know how to." You probably don't even know that you don't know how to position yet. But
yeah.
if you're in that boat, you'll be able to grow into this boat. So come back to it after a while if you're not liking it so far.
Yeah, alternatively, if you want to play basically the same thing, you can just play the Tech Tree Pan Asian Cruisers and get to Shumfon at Tier 7, which is the Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
or it's a clone of Atlanta or Flint, and
Yeah.
it has smoke and deep water torpedoes, which makes it play a little more like Flint than Atlanta. It doesn't have sensors, but
Right.
if you've played that and you go, well, I like playing that, but I wouldn't mind having radar and not having the smoke, then Atlanta is the alternative, right? Back then, this was how you played it, but subsequently it's been copy pasted into an actual tech line.
Yeah. So there's kind of a chance to almost not quite, but sort of try before you buy, which is cool.
Yeah.
I like you. I'm a fan of Atlanta, and like you, when I got it at first, I struggled with it as well. Right, I didn't have a great time with it. Starting off as a newbie, a battleship's a little bit easier to stay alive in, and so that becomes a little bit more fun as you learn how the rhythm of the game works. But I do find that Atlanta's great, and we talked about people taking it into ranked. They're everywhere in there, which means they're fun to Citadel if you're playing against them, and they're fun to be in if you're playing in them. So Atlanta's a good boat. I think it'd be a fine pickup for anybody. But again, if you're a brand new player, just be ready to learn and take your licks there, because you will. You'll get a little bit beat up in it at first. But that does not mean it's a bad boat, because it is not. It's a good, strong ship. Okay. Azuma B. I'll talk about Azuma. I don't really care for Azuma. Next boat. That's what I'd like to say about this. I find it really hard to like Azuma because Yoshino exists, but you go ahead if you got a thought.
No, I mean, like we've talked about Azuma in the Cole show, so
Yeah,
pause this on your if you're watching on YouTube later. Pause this, go to find the Cole show, watch what we had to say about Azuma there, and then come back to this video.
We'll be here waiting for you. We'll be right.
Yeah, I don't like Azuma very much, and there's a lot of them. There's this one. There's Azuma. There's Azuma B. Azuma's for Cole. Azuma B.
Azure
there's
Lane
like
Azuma, I think.
There's like an Azure Lane Azuma.
Yeah.
And all of them are pretty lame. So it's just not my thing.
The challenge with Azuma, and I will say, Azuma is a boat that works if you learn how to play Azuma and you want to, but I just find it hard to choose it over other things. So it doesn't have torpedoes for one, and there are a lot of Japanese cruisers with similar, there are Japanese cruisers like Yoshino, which we'll talk about later, which have torpedoes and similar guns, and it's great. M2 does point out it does have the tier 9 economy. So if I'm going to devil's advocate myself here, it's got tier 9 economy for a premium, which is great. I will say that, this boat's a B ship and it costs real money, and you can get a Azuma for coal. So a coal is a free resource that you can get. And so you might as well just get the
just get it for coal and slap a black expendable camo on it, and Bob's your uncle. Off you go.
And I'll show it up close here. It does look nice. But again, it's and this has the big 310 millimeter Japanese guns that you get here. A lot of the large cruisers, when Wargaming made this, they made Alaska, they made this boat, they made Aegir, they made Kronstadt and Kronstadt. Yeah. And so a lot of these big, they called them large cruisers back in the day. And they all had kind of a 300 millimeter ish, 305s, 310s, whatever, kind of gun. And this was the Japanese one. But in order to make up for those guns, they took away the torpedoes, and it makes this boat not as much fun to play as Yoshino, which is like this but with torpedoes and a tier up. So we'll hit Yoshino a little bit later.
It's also a large Citadel, and a lot of those other tier 9 heavy cruisers are a lot more tanky than this one and more fun. This is like you play this from like 18, 19, and you angled away and you shoot fireballs at people. And if that's a play style that intrigues you, get it for coal. If you have and take the money that you would spend on this and add $12 to it and get an Alaska or a Jean Bart.
There you go. Yeah, I concur and agree easily. That's just so easy to
Yeah.
say. And we'll come to those other boats. We already talked about Alaska. We'll talk about Jean Bart, but yeah, save your money on this one because you can get it for free. And if you like shooting fireballs from range, just go learn how to play the Zao line. It's awesome. It doesn't have 310s, but it's got better stealth, better armor, and
Got to
torpedoes.
reload.
Better reload. Yeah, it feels better in all the ways. So I don't want to spend too much time on this one because we'll just sit here
Nope.
and pick on this boat. Let's move on. Black B. Scott, do you want to warm us up on Black B? Tell us all about this little guy.
What a clever naming plan they came up with here, where they took the USS Black and added it to the B ship library.
They sure did.
USS Black is a Tier 9 American DD. It's a Fletcher class boat, one of 1,800 Fletchers that are in World of Warships. The claim to fame for Black B is that the Black itself that it was based on was a rare or hard to get ship. It was like was it a steel ship? I don't
Steel
remember.
ship,
Originally,
yeah.
it's coal now, but it's like a steel legend, so it costs a lot. But it was a steel ship, and I think before that, wasn't it like some kind of like ranked prize or something? Like, wasn't it
Yeah, so
something
Flint
like
and
that?
Black, you either had to
Yeah,
get ranked or clan tokens, which meant you ranked out like 3 times or got into like mega tier on clan battles 3 times. This was like many years ago.
yeah, way back
Before
in
they
the
moved into the
origins of
steel
the
store.
game.
Yeah.
So anyway, what the gimmick with this is compared to the other Fletchers is this has radar, which is like at the time this had to have been like the only DD with radar for a number of years.
Yes, for a long
And
time.
now, you can go trade all of your kidneys for a Blizzkowika 52 that has radar. Or you can get a whole line of European DDs with radar. You can, there's a lot more options in that vein. But Black was the progenitor of it. And Black actually has a really good radar. It has a pretty long duration compared to all those European boats. Um, it also has torpedoes that are literally sea mines. What are they, like 50 knot torpedoes? They're
I think
so
it's
slow.
slower than that. I think they're
They're
40,
so slow.
45 knots.
Yeah. So like they're mines that are drifting in the sea.
Yeah.
But they hit relatively hard. But I still like Black because it's a Fletcher. I think we've talked about the Fletchers before.
Mhm.
I don't know if we ever did a conversation where we ranked the Fletchers, but I do like the Black itself. It is still fun to play because of the being a Fletcher, because it has radar, because it has smoke. And it has good gun DPM with guns that you're relatively familiar with if you've played Fletcher or Chungmu or any of the other Fletchers, Kid, Velos, whatever the Pan Asian one is, on and on we go. So what do you think of the Black?
Yeah, I like Black as well. It's a strong boat. It's fun to play. It's as you said, I believe it was the first destroyer that had radar in the game. I think the next batch that got radar was the Pan Asian Tech line, right? When we got the Shenyang to Chungmu to Yuyang line, right? Which brought that out later on. So I find Black to be really fun. I think those slow torpedoes are both a benefit and a curse. They're a little too slow to catch anything, but you can put out torpedoes, and people always misjudge how long it takes for those torpedoes to get from where they last saw Black to where they are now. And so it's sometimes easier to hit things with those slow torpedoes. They find that they become comical in that way. Bundy Cup says, so how can I get a Black? It is and Dutch answered the question. It's a coal ship. They call it a steel legend because of its origins being a competitive reward, then moved into the steel store, and then moved into the coal store. I think it's about 296,000, 294,000 coal, something like that. It's a lot of coal. So use a coupon. I don't know if it's rotated in or out of the armory right now. That's a relatively new
I don't think it's available right now.
Yeah,
because I'm kind of scrolling
you're looking for
through through here, and I think it sorts these by tier, and I don't see it in the 9s right now.
Right. At the moment, of course, Black B is available for real money purchase. I don't think it's in the doubloons list, or it might be. Let me look.
Oh no, it's in the coal store. I'm sorry, it's just so dang expensive. It's 285,000 coal.
85. Okay, 285. That was with the price change
285.
then. And then you can buy it for dubs. It's also 24,480 dubs. The Black B, that is.
Yeah.
So.
But anyway, yeah, it's pretty good. But if you're a guy with a lot of coal, I would just get the coal one.
Yes,
I wouldn't
yes.
get the black. I wouldn't get the black one particularly. But as far as the DDs available in the black store, I don't think it's not bad. Like it's pretty good, but it's pretty spendy.
Yeah, it is good and it's spendy any way that you buy it, right? Like you said, it's expensive for coal, but coal's free instead of money,
Yep.
which is not free. So if you've got the ships for resources coupon, please use that and save yourself a lot. 25% of
Mhm.
285,000 coal is 50, almost 70,000 coal, something like that. So it's a lot of coal. So do recommend it. I do find it to be a good boat. If you like a Fletcher, you'll like this Fletcher. The radar is a fun trick. Radar and smoke is a great combination. So again, I think you'll have a good time with black if you can afford it and if you can find it. And again, it sounds like you can get the coal version or the black version right now, the black version
Mhm.
right now. So easy recommendation, fun little boat. And torpedoes are goofy, um, but no, I think she's a good pickup for sure. Brandenburg B. I'll talk about Brandenburg a little bit. When Brandenburg
Mhm.
came out, I fully expected not to like it because at that point I already had Odin, and I said Odin's the good one. Why would I want an extra turret to lose my hydros? Rah, 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 rah. But Brandenburg is a blast. It's a maneuverable battleship with smaller caliber guns. Are these 305s or 350s? I always forget.
305s.
Okay, they're 305s.
Yeah,
So
it's
it
like the
rolls.
same guns off Odin
Mm-hmm.
or
And it
like A gear.
rolls around like a battle cruiser kind of. So I like the maneuverability of this boat. I would like it more if it had hydros, but that 12 gun salute is pretty dope. So I'm a huge fan, honestly, of Brandenburg B. I still might find myself choosing Odin over it because Odin has fun camos and things, but Odin's hard to get. It's a unavailable ship, right? It was a dockyard boat, and Brandenburg you can pick up here because Brandenburg's an 8. Actually, that's less true than it used to be. I was going to say it's a real money ship, although we do have tier 8s in the coal store now. But Brandenburg is a doubloons ship right now. So this is a good way to get a Brandenburg on a discount. Um, we played this on stream a couple of days ago. I think M2 was asking about it, and I can't remember, but it feels like we had an okay game in it. But
Mhm.
maybe not. I don't know. What did you think of Brandenburg when it came out? Because I remember we talked a little bit about, is this just like the poor man's Odin if you didn't do the dockyard, or what was your experience with the ship? Because I do
I
believe you
like it.
did pick it up, right?
I mean, I like it. I mean, taking the Tirpitz or the Bismarck hull and then giving it the 12 smaller caliber guns. It's some, well, I don't know if I like the idea of that as much, but I like these kind of caliber gun battleships usually because you've got good reload and you're less likely to overpen cruisers. And
And I love those
that
chrome turrets too. Look at that.
and to me that feels good. So and you can you build this out for the secondaries and the classic like old school German battleship style or kind of a mix, like a hybrid gun, like secondary kind of build, like people do now on like Bismarck and those ships, and it works fine. You can use your captains from those ships over here and have a thing, and it's fun. And yeah, it has torpedoes like Tirpitz. It doesn't have the
Hmm.
hydro like you've been saying, but so basically it's just, it's kind of Tirpitz with smaller guns and, more of them. But I think it's fun. I think the black version of it's good looking. And I think, at the price, the being a tier 8, it's got that 30% discount. And so for 7,900 doubloons, it seems like a pretty good deal to me because I think it's a fun ship. But again, it's not exactly unique. There's plenty of
No.
ships you can get for free or for other resources that are similar. But it's a fun ship, I think, if you're into that more standard German battleship play style.
Yeah. Atari Beer Pong. By the way, hey Atari, it's good to see you again. Is asking, are they still good fire starters? The 150s are a 6% fire chance. The 105s are 4.5. The fires are going to come through volume, not necessarily through high fire chance from these German guns. So I don't know if we see tons of fires off of this one, but I think you'd get some started. But that's really just kind of the fun of a secondary battleship in general. You'll get that German pen though. You still get that one quarter pen, the 1/4 pen, which means you're going to get a lot of just raw alpha damage off the secondary hits, which is a positive thing as well. And it does have 150s, like I said earlier, just to reiterate that 150s and 105s. So the 150s are going to hit pretty hard, but I think it's only, I guess it's 12 150s. So that's not a small number. But the battle cruiseriness, like you said, I just really like the German battleships in particular when they put these smaller, the smaller battleship guns on there, because I like shooting more frequently. Maybe I'm not the best shot in the world, but if I get more chances, I'll be able to dial in my shots and get some good hits and those kinds of things. So generally, I think positive vibes for Brandenburg. Like you said, is it fully unique? Not necessarily, but it's I think a fair price here if you're looking for a Black Friday ship. And again, especially with all the free dubs, I should stop saying this because I think people are gonna be tired of hearing it. But if you've been grinding and getting the free doubloons, this is a pretty good deal for 7,900 dubs or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately looking at some of the things you can do with dubs, and I know tiers and everything, and people are looking at different stuff, but Pommern B, which we haven't gotten to yet, it's 15,500 dubs, and a tier higher, this is 7,900 dubs. I think a frugal shopper might go, what, I just get the Brandenburg B, and then maybe something else. Like I could get that, and I could get a Lazo B, or I could get another tier 8 B, and basically have two ships. And I know nines have different matchmaking and different economy and all that, but just smiles per mile. I think you're okay with a ship like this. I think this ship's relatively fun.
Yeah, and for some reason some of the German ships, right? They let them have these big red iron crosses on the deck, and these chrome turrets. Like there's a couple of flourishes here that aren't on the other black ships, right? And they I think they know their audience, the people who like these German secondary BVs, and they dress them up. And I think they just did a great job on this one. It just really is an attractive looking piece in particular.
Yeah. This one and Pommern are both pretty cool looking for black ships.
They are. Yeah, and Atari mentions Pommern was a fun ship and still is, right? People still like their Pommerns. So yeah, Brandenburg B, I think generally gets some thumbs up from us in terms of smiles per mile. Yeah, that's right. Brisbane B. Who was surprised that they made this a B ship? I kind of was, to be fair. So Brisbane's one of those coal ships, right? But boy, the B ship feels like it came out not long after Brisbane landed in the coal store.
Yeah, I mean, in Brisbane, when it was first introduced, was free. Like there was an event.
Grind for it. That's right.
Yeah, there was an event where you could either grind for the Brisbane or you could grind for an 18 point Commonwealth captain, the pirate lady. And then ultimately Brisbane came along later as a coal ship. Brisbane's a tier 10 Commonwealth cruiser. It's a Commonwealth version of the Minotaur. With Commonwealth flavor, so crawling smoke. Does this have crawling smoke or not? No, it does, doesn't it?
Maybe it has no smoke.
Does it have no smoke? Because it has radar, right? It has like 12-kilometer radar.
So this one has the first non-Soviet 12-kilometer radar in the game.
Yeah, that's right.
Super heel. But yeah, no smoke on this one. This one,
no smoke. But it's got HE and AP, right? I think it has HE on it, right? It does.
That is a special thing about this one.
I remember when this ship was a new thing, and when this one's new enough that I tested it but subsequently playing it, I think it's fine. I've never been a huge Minotaur fan because I don't like the dynamics of how Minotaur handles. I like British cruisers, and then I got to Minotaur and I'm like, this thing won't stop. But Brisbane, while it still is extremely easy to like Citadel and smash, it's fun because you have the HE and that radar, and you can do some interesting stuff with it. I don't know about it as a B ship. Again, this is one that you can still get for coal.
So that's always going to be the hard thing on these, isn't it?
And I would just get it for coal because that's free. More than I would.
Camo is cool, but coal is free, and a tier 10, even in the B store, is a lot of money, isn't it? Like
26,600 dubs. So that's over $100 US, right? 25,000 dubs is like $100 US. So, buying this, it's $106.41.
There you go.
That seems like a lot of money,
right?
Yeah, or you just get the coal one.
Yeah.
I'm not to condone gambling, but if I was going to spend $100 in the black store, I'd buy $100 of the premium crates and press my luck.
Just see what happens. Just let Lady Fate sort it out.
Before because I just think that's a lot, especially for a coal ship. And you're going to hear that from us on these ones that we're just going, you could get it for coal, coal they give out pretty easily. I know that sounds like we can't go too far down the coal hole, because I know it turns into let them eat cake, because Scotta has a billion coal and nothing to spend it on. But still, get the coal version of this if you're interested in the idea of it, unless you just want to fund the servers.
One thing we haven't talked about yet is, if you already have the coal version, or what if you did buy some of those crates? Again,
that's true.
Necessarily condone. And now you pull this out of the crates, and now you've got the regular one and the black version. You can get in there and do some mission. You can play some. They give you a mission, and at the end of the mission, depending on which tier you got, you'll get maybe some dubs back, or maybe some dubs in coal and things like that too. So if you already have one of these, Wargaming's trying to turn this into a collector's game where you feel like you need to get them all. I'm not going to razz them too much. Businesses are businesses or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you did go buy some boxes and you got duplicate ships, there is a way to get some dubs back out of that to reduce the overall cost for you there. I'm not going to push that too hard, but there is a thing in the armory where you can
I will say that this year they added that thing, and I appreciate it. And you can go in there and you can see, on Brisbane, I pulled it up. So if you had the coal Brisbane and you ended up with Brisbane B, either because you're just hometown of Brisbane,
just a Brisbane fan,
just can't get enough, or you ended up getting the boat somehow, you do get a combat mission on Brisbane that when you finish it would give you 2,500 doubloons and 25,000 coal. So that's kind of neat.
So this is the thing. You come into the armory and you can select this. I do like that they put this thing together because it helps you understand what your missions are. What I don't like is I think that this puts you in a psychological state where you're like, well, I got to catch them all or whatever. And that's insane. We talked about it, $1,700 if you buy them all.
And they put that thing along the top and you earn points, and that gives you additional things. So as you can see, Clyde's little bar.
Well, let's not.
Is completely maxed out.
Speaking of a let them eat cake moment, right? But again, where you can save money and be in the coal store where you can. And the important thing here is knowing which ships are in the coal store, because not everybody knows all that, right? And so if you come in and you're looking at the black ships and you go, dang, dude, that Azuma looks sick, I'm going to buy it. And you go buy it. And then next month you learn that it's a coal ship. That's a real bummer, right? So we're trying to help people understand those kinds of things, so that you don't make.
But I mean, as far as play style goes, what do you think about Brisbane? Do you think it's fun?
I do like Brisbane. I think it's a lot of fun. We talked about the tools that it has. Really, like you said, you're giving up that smoke from Minotaur. You're getting a slightly slower reload, and they had to do that because of the HE, which they gave it. So the fires per minute needed to be kept under control. You've also got the incredible torpedo armament that this thing has. So it's got 13.5 kilometer torpedoes. And I believe, it's 4x5. So you can launch 20 torpedoes that go 13.5 kilometers, only 10 per side, but still it's a lot of torpedoes. The stealth on it is pretty good. In my build, 11.3 kilometers. You do got to be wary of where you park the thing, because you need to be relatively close. Your gun range is not incredible. It's 15.8, which is Des Moines-ish, in that neighborhood. And so if you're in there running smoke free, up close, you got to be careful about your positioning. But you've got that 12-kilometer radar, which is really a big way to surveil the area you're in. You've got 13.5-kilometer torpedoes and lots of them. You've got HE where Minotaur doesn't, those kinds of things. I really do like Brisbane. I do tend to play it a little too aggressively, and I'll put myself in a position where I get 50 damage and then I die, right? But I'll tell you, it is a fun. I think it's a fun boat, and I think the play style for it is really interesting. But again, you can get that same play style for coal, so I do encourage people to save that 106 buckaroonies and do that, which is pretty cool. Atari says, don't people mostly run Radar Minotaur? There's a lot of smoke minnows out there too. I think that people feel like when they get to a certain level of comfort with Minotaur, they switch away and they never use smoke again. I don't think that's necessarily the right thing to do. I think you need to play the version that makes you have the most battle impact, and that's going to be different for different players. And this is kind of a smoke-free version, but with longer range torpedoes, longer range radar, and HE. I think the recipe for Brisbane's a good one. So good boat, but get it cheap if you can. That'd be my take.
Yeah, get the cool one.
Yeah, just get it for cool. All right. Chkalov B. Here she is, folks, our first aircraft carrier. I think you've played more battles in this one than I have. I have played it, but I don't want to put you on the spot. If you'd rather have me talk through it, I will. But
I mean,
some thoughts on Chkalov.
It's a premium Tier 8 Soviet aircraft carrier. So if you're familiar with Soviet aircraft carriers, you have, you fly out and you just have like the one attack. And the planes have boosters. These planes, at least on the Tier 8, like in the tech line 8 and 10, have the boosters. They take off, they go relatively quickly, then they slow down a fair amount. But, when you play Tier 8, when you play Soviet carriers, the whole gimmick is you're supposed to try to get to a position where you can rapidly launch an attack, flight attack, launch an attack.
So kind of put the carrier closer to the action, but hopefully still safe.
Yeah. But the interesting thing with this one, so the Soviet tech line, not to go too like pedantic on how Soviet carriers work, but all of the attack methods that the tech line Soviet carriers have tend to work best if you attack from the side of your enemy. And so you have to be positioning your planes. They have rockets, they have skip bombs, and they have torpedoes that excel best broadside attacks. The neat thing about Chkalov is that you trade the rockets for an HE bomber that is more of a like a straight level small target bomber, more like a like a normal. It's not a die. They're not die bombers. They're kind of more like the I don't know. What was it like? Maybe the newer U.S. line has bombers like that, or maybe the British ones, but not as many little bombs. And that allows this ship to have a bow on style attack that the tech line Russians don't have as much of. So I've played Chkalov. I've played it like I remember we did some like what was like 3v3 brawl stuff where I would play Chkalov and we would mess around with that. Because you still have the skip bombers and then you still have the torpedoes. But if you're a carrier person, you may already have a premium Chkalov or you may be interested in this one. But, out of the available black carriers, I think this one's actually probably, I don't want to say it's the best one because I'm not really a carrier guy, but
I do like Chkalov though.
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's pretty comfortable. I think it's competitive not competitive like ticket to tournaments, but like I think it's when you think about carrier power levels. And I say this as a guy who's not a good carrier captain. So, somebody who's a really good carrier captain might be like, "Oh no, you're wrong. It's this one." But for me, I have enjoyed my battles in Chkalov as much or more than most other carriers. I will say the Black Friday camo on this one is sick. This chrome strip on the deck looks rad. One of the things I tend to not love about the Black Friday carriers are that the planes are just fully murdered out. They're all just straight black. The windows are black. Everything's black, and it's just a little bit boring. But I think the camo on this one looks pretty great, and I do think that Chkalov is capable and competitive. And you talked about the side attacks which are required for all of the other tech trees. That winds up being a weakness because what it winds up doing is for certain ships that you want to attack, you've got to lengthen your flight in order to hit them from the right side. This one means that if you've got a target, you can choose the planes that you have that are going to let you have the shortest possible flight. And that is the whole thing with these Soviet carriers, whether they're tech line or this one. And so that's a real benefit, I think, to this ship. So anyway, I think Chkalov's fine. I understand most people aren't carrier folks, and they're going to, for the people who are not, they're going to be like, what a waste or whatever. It could be. But if you are a carrier person or you're at least carrier curious, you could do a lot worse, I think, than Chkalov. Okay, jump into our next one, Cossack B. I'll talk a little bit about Cossack. I know that the whole world loves Cossack. It's not my favorite boat, but it definitely has a lot of strengths that are worth talking about. So the DPM on it is insane. The detection is really, really low. I want to say 5.6. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong. Only a single torpedo launcher with bad angles, but it's really not about the torpedoes. It's about the short smokes It's about the hydros, and it's about the 8-gun DPM. So 5.5 says these. Sorry, thank you, C's nuts. So 5.5 kilometer concealment on Cossack. So really strong boat. You can get regular Cossack, I believe, as long as they haven't rotated it out of the store. So I don't think it's an unavailable boat by any means. This is a way to get that same capability and experience for less money. So if you were going to just buy a Cossack for real cash, you can do that by getting the Cossack B, which I think is a good looking ship for less cash. And that's just the way it is. Really strong DPM. My problem with Cossack is a Clyde problem. It's not a Cossack problem. And it's a thing where I get too close to danger that is supported. If you're going to go in there and scrap with another DD, you'll probably do just fine unless the DD has friends. And so that's the area where you can't just wander into a cap and pretend that you're the toughest guy in school or whatever, because you can get shot up, and there's no healing on this one, right? This is a non-healing destroyer, and it doesn't have the most hit points to begin with. So Scotta, I don't feel like I hear you talk a lot about Cossack. I'm sure we've talked about it in the past, but what's your take on this little guy?
I can appreciate the strengths of it, right? So it has like an insanely low conceal and a high DPM with a lot, it has like 8 guns, and it's got wonky torps that are kind of an afterthought because the angles on them are really like reverse firing only, and you've got like a single rack of them. They're not horrible, but they're just harder to use.
You got to be very
so this is really it's really a gunboat with that low concealment. The British short smokes, which are popular amongst a certain type of player. Speed boost, it's got the short range British style hydros. So, it plays a lot like the British line. As far as the consumables and things, it's not like a variation there, but it's a heck of a lot better gunboat than whatever I can't even remember. It's Lightning. Lightning's not bad boat, and I might personally like Lightning better, but I know that Cossack's better than it. And this is a great way to get a really strong boat that's popular in a lot of tier 8 modes, I'm sure, at a discounted price, right? So you can get it for dubs normally in the store right now, but this is one of those ones where it's like, the tier 8's really the sweet spot for the black store, because they give you that 30% discount and some neat ships, and it makes them a lot more affordable. In my opinion, like these are the ships that you'd kind of like pick off here, other than the ones that you can only get this way. But yeah, I think Cossack's a good DD. It's a good gunboat, good DD hunter. Yeah. There's a lot of DDs available at tier 8, but Cossack's not a bad DD. It's a good DD.
Yeah, and you briefly hit on, it's popular in tier 8 modes. It's going to be great in ranked. It's going to be good if there's ever a tier 8 clan battle season. You'll see people use Cossack consistently. When we see tier 8 tournaments and things, Cossack is a frequent pick, right? So yeah, definitely a boat that when you add to your port, it's not a boat you're going to outgrow, right? Whereas some of these might be boats that you go, oh, that was cool. I played it for 30 battles and I'll probably never play it again. Cossack's going to be the kind of boat where if it's your kind of boat, you can enjoy this one for years and years to come. And there's lots of reasons to play it, not to mention the co-op modes like operations and stuff like that as well. So definitely worth picking up. Again, maybe not as compatible with my playstyle, but others have definitely proven time and again it's a strong one. We'll jump on to Dunkirk. This is our first tier 6 that we've come across. Yeah, Dunkirk. So tier 6 French battleship. In fact, I think the first French battleship in the game. What's your experience with this one? So Dunkirk, smaller guns, right? And I think a lot of people were uncomfortable with that when this boat first came out. This might have come out before you started playing, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think it did.
I've probably played it, but
yeah, I have. I mean, I have it. I played the normal. I think I had the normal one before the black one ever existed. This is one of those ones with the 6s where I think when this one came out, it was like, oh, you bought, that was probably the one where it's like, oh, you buy the series of crates, and then this is like at the end.
Yes.
This year that ends with like a tier 8, and it costs way more money. But they used to do that sequential bundle with these 6s, and it was kind of like, oh, you get some crates and you get one of these. Maybe you luck out and you get something cool in one of the crates. Dunkirk itself in 2025 probably not the most fun experience at tier 6. It has smaller caliber guns. It's not they're forward only guns. This is like what's your tier 8 that you did a challenge on?
Richelieu. It's like a little baby Richelieu. Yeah.
But this was a real ship.
Yes.
That for the history people, and 8 guns forward like that, you can do interesting things. You can poke out around islands and give a small profile and get all your guns on target. And it's not extremely accurate, but it's not a bad play. But it's it's a if you want a tier 6 premium French battleship, Dunkerque. Like, I don't have a whole lot more to say about it. There's what they came out with Strasbourg eventually at tier 7, which was its sister ship, and the tier 7's the same ship, but it has a reload booster, which makes it a little more interesting with a lot worse matchmaker.
Yes, and I want to love Strasbourg, but it's sometimes it can be really hard. Yeah.
But I think what do they sell this? This is, where is this in here? Can you even get this?
Is this one of the ones you can't get? There's a handful of boats that you can't get.
Yeah,
I don't. This one might not.
Hey everybody, this one's the best one.
Yeah.
I don't think it's in here. Like I'm looking at the bottom of the doubloons only boats, and the only 6 in here is Repulse B.
Is it on the real money list?
If I go to the real money one, it's not there either. Yeah. So
I think you.
Sorry, everybody.
No, you can get it. $13 for real money.
Okay.
It's right underneath Asashio. $13.44.
Oh, it's up there. Why did they have this laid out that way?
It's so weird. Very.
Okay. Well, yeah. So $13.
Yeah.
I still don't know if I'd say spend $13 on it, but I guess
I don't know that I'd push people towards picking this one up. So Dunkirk's fine. I think it might have been the first boat in the. As soon as I say this, I'll be wrong. It might be the first boat in the game that had the all guns forward layout, right, with no main battery on the back end of the ship.
No, because Des Moines was out before this.
Thank you for that.
If you want to play it, if you wanted to play it properly back then, Russian cruiser fan.
Yeah. So, but this one, 330 millimeter guns, as I said, so smaller than the 356s that are common at the tier, and then light, not as heavily armored, right? And so Normandy, I see that in the corner of my screen here. And so Dunkirk, fun little boat, but not necessarily super survivable, not necessarily super tough, no reload booster. So she is real steel. She is an early French battleship. I think good for real steel ship collectors. Yeah. But in terms of like, where should you put your money? I don't know.
I don't know.
It seems like maybe not the best pickup. But again, if you bought it and have fun playing Dunkirk, please continue. Like it's a decent little ship.
Yeah.
Atari says, is Borgonia still out there? It's been ages. Atari has not played World of Warships in a long time. He's hanging out and catching up.
No, they haven't gotten rid of the oldest steel ship. It's fine.
Yep. Don't worry. Borgonia's still there, and she's still probably one of the best boats in the game for what you pay for it, which is nothing. Anyway, there's Dunkerque B. Graf Zeppelin B. I think we can probably keep this one relatively short unless you have a lot to say about Graf. But Graf Zeppelin, interesting.
The year was 1939.
Oh my gosh, we're going all the way there.
The Luftwaffe and Kriegsmarine were combining and realizing that they needed a carrier.
They were like, hey, let's get serious.
Whatever. Like, it's Graf Zeppelin. Its claim to fame is that it has really accurate secondaries, and now you can manually aim them. Next.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Is the sound there, or did they get rid of the Stuka sound? I can't remember. I feel like there was a controversy.
I don't remember
that, but it's Graf Zeppelin. It's a secondary CV. You can manually fire the secondaries. I haven't tried this boat since then. Maybe I should. That'd be fun.
I used it for recently for Liberty Harbor shenanigans.
Okay. What mission were you using it for?
Well, it was probably one where I needed secondary hits, bomb and rocket hits.
Oh, I see.
Like it was probably a thing where there was like 2 or 3 things that I thought, well, I can use that. And I took it into a co-op or an ASIM or some, probably co-op, and just like brought up autopilot, clicked on the other side of the map at the beginning. And then started flying the rocket planes around to get rocket hits and bomb hit. The bombs are whatever, but the rocket hits, I got enough rocket hits. And then meanwhile, it has insanely accurate secondaries.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this and Napoli and Pensacola are like your secondary champions, right? And so, you know, it drove forward and it got a bunch of secondary hits for me, and I got some points, and eventually I got a Bridgeport. The end.
Yeah. I think, and that's what's funny about Graf is I think she's interesting historically. She's like one of the oldest or the oldest German carrier in the game, maybe. She's been around a long time, all of that. She's got this weird, funky thing that helps you with wacky missions, like Scott had just mentioned, but you don't really see it a lot in play. You know, it's not a particularly popular aircraft carrier. Again, pick it up if it's something of interest to you. But
Yeah,
I'm
this is
not
one of those
expert
ones
enough to
where
spend a lot of time deciphering
yeah,
its
I'm not.
particulars, you know.
If you see this in a random, it's
Watch
one
out.
of two things. It's
Yeah.
either somebody who just got a Graf Zeppelin B and they're like, "Rrr,"
Yeah.
or there's like a handful of guys on the NA server that are like intentionally chads with just this, and they're a problem,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And even though it has like
They're just
HE
real
rockets
good at
and
it. Yeah.
mediocre torpedoes, and you know, but it does have AP bombs, but they're really good at it, and like they're a problem.
Yeah.
So, you know, there you go.
Yeah. You know, it's a carrier. You'll fight it like a carrier. And if you
Yeah.
log in, you'll play it like a carrier and you'll learn its quirks and things. The secondaries I think could be interesting, but I can't speak with any authority. Like, yes, I've tried them and they're cool. Like, because I feel like a lot of the CVs with secondaries, it's not as interesting as we had hoped.
Oh
it
no,
would
they're
be.
awesomely powerful on this. Like legit.
Like the in manual mode though.
Oh yeah, like I have a captain for my Graf Zeppelin B that's built for with the captain skill on
Yeah.
CVs that buff secondaries,
Yeah.
and I have like secondary buffs on my Graf Zeppelin B, and like the rate of fire is really good, and even like the automatic mode is super accurate. I'm not kidding when I say it's like
automatic
insanely
mode
accurate.
I know is accurate because I've done
And-
that. I just haven't tried the
and-
manuals yet.
Yeah, no, like the on manual mode they're fine too, but like there's
Okay.
you know, like it's still like probably the strongest of that reality.
I'm sure that it has to be true, though,
you know,
right? I would imagine. I
but,
just can't
yeah.
try to.
But I mean, like, you don't get the carrier because you're thinking, like, I'm going to get me in some secondary brawls. Like, that's,
Yeah.
like, if you're that guy and you're not in a co-op, you've done it wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you did hit on a point, though, that's, I think, worth mentioning. This needs a unique captain if you're going to do that, right? Like, it needs a special build, and you can make it. It's fine, but it needs a little special build.
Yeah, you put Luchins on it.
I mean, I guess you could. What else? What are the
get those secondary,
beyond,
get that proc to go off for secondaries, and you're just making things happen.
Making hay. All right, let's move on. Iwami B, so coal ship, right? This is a coal battleship with some torpedoes. It's the slightly less accurate version of the Dyson, but not much worse.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, I think it's got worse. I think it's got better torpedoes, but worse Sigma. I'll pull it up here and check. But again, available for coal. That's the big story here on this one is you can get it for coal. And so again, unless you specifically want the B version, go grab the coal version of this boat. I remember when they were doing tests on this one, they tried a couple of different things for deck armor thickness. Do you remember where they landed on that? They landed with the 40 millimeter. I'm going to pull it up here.
Thicker. Oh, and you're so wrong. Like, so Heisen Sigma's 1.7 and Iwami's is 2.1. Iwami Sigma is actually Iwami Sigma is actually better than Yamato. So Iwami is a delight at range to shoot with. Like, it's a good
and it
sniper.
Does have the 50 millimeter deck. It's a 50 millimeter deck. Okay.
And it has the longer range torpedoes. I actually am an Iwami enjoyer.
I knew that if I said anything slanderous, it would catch me.
It's so much better than Heisen. It's the same hull. They're all the Izumo hull, but like
it's better than Heisen for sure. But Dyson is the other one that.
Oh, you were talking about Dyson. It has the same Sigma as Dyson. I thought you were talking about Heisen.
Okay. But I still thought it was worse than Dyson. So you still caught me in a fumble there, which is
in fact, it has 3 meters better vertical dispersion than Dyson.
Gosh, taking a look because I want to see what else.
Look out.
Yeah. Okay.
But Dyson also you can't get in the black store or in coal store.
It's no. Dyson's it's a goofball suggestion.
Yeah. But anyway, Iwami's interesting. Also Iwami, not the really preferred play style, but Iwami does have more accurate secondaries than most.
I see Grant's made a comment to that end too. Yeah, you guys are the
The
same mind
range
here.
the range only can be built out to 10.5, but it does have a more accurate. Heisen or Dyson surprisingly also kind of does too, but the Iwami like secondary accuracy was improved. It was a thing when they originally announced the ship that they said it was going to do, and then it didn't like because of the way it changed during testing. I don't know that you really should play it that way, although the thicker deck makes it more survivable in brawling. So like I have Iwami, I also have Iwami B. My Iwami B is built for secondary shenanigans. And I do use it for that in like ASIMs. It's actually really good for ASIMs for that kind of dumb stuff. The hitting DPM's not amazing. It's only 50,000.
Yeah.
But the actual secondary DPM is pretty high. It's like 350k, which is pretty good. But you know, they're like 155s and 100 millimeter Japanese guns, and mostly it just starts a lot of fires.
Yeah. I did pull up the thing. Dyson has increased penetration, which is what I was thinking of, not accuracy. So I'm glad we called that out because that actually puts Iwami in that 2.1 Sigma is excellent. You know, you said, hey, better than Yamato, which is I think,
and it has really good base range.
2.05
Like the range is good.
Yeah. So I mean, this will work for you. And that 50 millimeter deck is great. You're going to shatter a lot of HE shells. People will still get fires on you. You can still get a fire on a shattered shell. But you're not going to get the initial alpha damage if you shatter or if your shell can't pen 50 millimeters of armor, right? So small guns that can't do that because they're going to be high in arcing, especially if they're slower shells. That deck is going to do great on. Now the bow and the stern, not quite as thick as the 50 millimeter deck, but they're still 32 mil on the bow and the stern. So
yeah, you can cheek it like because the hull can be cheeked.
Yeah.
So it's got those problems. But as Iwami goes, if you like Japanese battleship playstyle, I think Iwami's a nice premium tier 9 that's available. And I would get it as a coal boat if you're into that. Like I wouldn't necessarily get it as a black ship, although it is a relatively like this is a $60 tier 9 black ship as opposed to like you know, some of like the other ones that are more money because the rarity comes into play. And because Iwami is an uncommon, because it's also a coal ship, it is a cheaper purchase, but just get it for coal if you want to get it. You don't need to do this just to get a black camouflage. You can paint the coal one black, I assure you.
Yes. And I suppose for the reverse is true too. You can put camos on the black ships. I think most folks here probably know that, but you know, if you're a newer player and you're like, hey, what if I wanted to paint it, you know, goofball colors? Well, you can, but again, you spend a lot of money to do that, but you could do it for free for coal. So we should continue to say that, but again, it's just one of those things that's going to be a theme tonight. But yeah, Iwami, I've had some fun times playing Iwami. I remember you being a particular fan of it when it came out, and so that was definitely something I wanted to get from your take, and I think you shared the parts of it that are going to be really valuable. The torps on this, are they 10 kilometers?
No, they're like
are they
20.
The 20s?
They're like the Yoshino torps, I think. They go really far, 15 or 20.
This one has the 20s. I just have those ships flipped in my head. I don't know what I'm talking about. Why do people watch this channel? What's going on?
I don't. I ask myself every time I log in.
Every day. What am I doing here? Why do I hang out here?
Yeah, who is this? Why is this a thing?
And so the 20s on Iwami you'll actually use, whereas the 10s on Dyson.
Yeah, you can. That's a fun thing with these torpedoes. They're like the Yoshino torps, so you can pick an island gap in the distance and just shoot them that way and see what happens.
Launch them out and just always be shooting. You know, always be closing. It's the ABCs of sales, but. Anyway, Iwami, good boat. Get the coal version. If you have that already and this fell out of a container, cool. Go do the Dubs mission because you got one. But like, yeah, ideally, starting with the coal version is the way to go. Jean Bart, what a great boat, you know?
Oh,
what if
Han. What a delight.
Take this baguette machine from tier 8 and you push it up to tier 9 and you give it a reload booster. JB's a delight, and of course because of that you can't buy it anymore, and so you can only buy it for cash. You can't get this one for dubs, but it is available at a price of Dun dun dun. $74 and
$74.
11 pennies.
11 cents.
Yep, U.S. monies right there. So again, not available on the doubloons list, but can get it for cash. So again, if you know, this is the kind of boat that people are always like, "Oh, I hope John Bart's back in the black sale this year," and they, you know, they bring their grandma's birthday money and their allowance or whatever. It's a good boat, and it's one of the few times a year when you can guarantee that you're going to get it. Because otherwise you're going to try to collect it out of a container or something if it's on the list this year and everything like that. How big are the guns on JB? I'm trying to remember.
381s.
They're 381s. That's right. They're the same.
Classic French 381s.
That's right. And so they're not big guns, but they've got decent velocity. They're easy to hit with. And then the reload booster means you get to shoot more frequently. I don't know. What do you want to add to my vain ramblings about this delightful
John Bart's great. Like,
yep.
This is one of the ones that people wait for Black Friday for. This boat's great. Like, so I am an unabashed large fan of French battleships, I will say. Trying to think like where the cutoff point for that is. I hate Picardy because it's
You're
like,
saying which
not fun.
Yes, which
but
ones
like,
are the
but
ones
Jean
that
Bart is a
stopped
delight.
liking?
So like, they used to have this like design concept with the French where they would, unlike a lot of things, they would copy paste. They would actually take a tech tree one, they would juice it up a tier, and they would make that one better by giving it main battery reload booster and better gun accuracy. This has like amazing reload anyway. If you're crazy, you can do clown shoe stuff with the secondaries. They'll shoot really far and not hit anything, but you know, they're hilarious and they're all over the back of the ship. No, Jean Bart's a lot of fun. You know, nowadays I think it can still be, you can still have fun playing it. It doesn't have exceptional concealment. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, friend of the show, Snob, and we were bemoaning the fact that nowadays battleships have the concealment of cruisers, and cruisers have lower concealment, but then new DDs have a bigger concealment because they're trying to make everybody play in a smaller circle.
Yeah.
But again, this ship's a delight. It's a ton of fun. And so like, this is one, I think the original Jean Bart was a coal ship, I think, or was it free XP? I think it was a coal ship.
I think it was coal.
And unfortunately, they don't make cool things like that for you to get anymore. And now you just have to buy these classic, excellent ships.
Did you say they don't make coal things
money.
Like that for you to get anymore? Is that what you said?
Good. Well, if they made a coal ship today, which they haven't in a long time, but if they did, it wouldn't be a tenth as fun as Jean Bart.
It wouldn't
right?
be Jean Bart.
No, but this ship's just great, and it's a lot of fun. It's fun in most modes, and it's you know, if you enjoy French battleships, you know, it has that trolley armor. It's hard to citadel. It has 32 millimeter plate everywhere, so these ships melt to German secondaries, and I'm sure Libertards and all those things. But like, this is just a classically fun ship, so you should get a Jean Bart.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be the kind of person who spends that kind of money, and I understand that many folks who are not, those people are probably not watching this video because this is all about real money ships, or at least doubloon ships. But if you're going to spend real money, this is a good one, and it's only available this time of year. This feels like a you know, call now sort of telethon kind of thing. But it is one of the rare boats that's available this time of year. You can pick it up that way. It is a fun boat. Like you mentioned the armor. I was going to call that out. I didn't mention it in my initial discussion, but yeah, you called that out. Like a lot of French battleships, she's not particularly well armored, but she's sort of glass cannony in that way. And the cannon is so good that you deal with the armor. You know, you just have a good time with it.
French battleships also have what's colloquially referred to as black hole armor.
Yeah, that's
so you think you're going to citadel it and do things to it, and your shells hit it, and you get pens, but it's weird and nothing really, it's strange because there's weird places in the French armor schemes where shells just get lost.
Yeah. Little pockets.
Yeah. Jean Bart, a lot of fun.
Yeah, good boat. Definitely one to consider as you look to your fleet there. Again, if $75 is too rich, or if you're looking to spend your dubs instead of your cash, plenty of good choices on the list. Jean Bart.
Yeah, and what I would say, if you're looking for something that's with a free currency, then it would be Bourgogne Tier 10 for steel.
That's right. It brings a lot of the same things plus more turrets in the back, or more turrets in the back. Yeah, Jean Bart, good boat. Kaga B, the torpedo plane carrier of tier 8
Yeah.
from Japan. So great carrier for people new to carrier play. Kaga is comfortable for anybody to play. You just have a seemingly unlimited number of torpedo planes. So you can just kind of learn to drop torpedoes over and over and over again. The torpedoes do work when they do hit. They actually get some work done on the targets. And the B version is attractive. Kaga is also um, it's a money ship, right? You can't get this one for a free currency anywhere. So this is a place where you will get a discount on a black ship, which is cool. That you can't get on the traditional ship. Kaga is also a real ship, I believe. I believe they actually built this thing.
It was.
Yeah, past tense. And they put this thing together, and so there's a real steel historical tie there. I'll bring up the replay mode here, and we'll show you the deck. Looks cool. It's got another big chrome stripe on it, kind of like I liked on Chkalov. I think Kaga is a good ship to have in your port for somebody who needs to get torpedo hit mission, air torpedo hit missions. You can't really yeah, a little slip of the tongue there. You can't really go wrong with Kaga. I think she's a worthwhile ship to have in your port, even if you're less of a carrier person. If you're super anti, okay, well, there's nothing I can do to help you, but if you're willing to take a carrier out from time to time, this isn't a bad one to have for somebody who's a little less comfortable. It was
I will say one thing also about it that makes it different than the tech line Japanese carriers is that it has HE bombs and not AP bombs. So that's a thing that it does that's different than the normal Japanese carriers. So there you go, everybody.
Yeah. Atari says, was it a modified battleship hull? I don't remember if it was a battleship or a cruiser, but it was a modified hull. It was planned to be a different boat. And then they converted it over. Biggles has the history. It looks like it was a Tosa class battleship that they moved over. So you can see the casemate secondaries down here. Right? Those are still there. But that is the bomber difference is an interesting one you bring up too, Scott. Not that you'll spend a lot of time with the bombs, but when you do use them, they are HE bombs. And that means you can kind of like go back to somebody you just flooded with torpedoes and get a fire on them, if that's your next available flight or whatever. But yeah, Kaga, generally a good boat. I think it's generally well regarded. I think people who are CV experts would say, well, yeah, there are better carriers that you can min-max a little bit more. But for your average player who's maybe considering getting into them, it's an easy recommendation. I think it's a decent little boat.
It also is harder to deplane, if I remember right. Like this just has like more squadrons or something. Back when that was a concern and everything didn't have tactical squadrons.
Yeah, no, this is a good one for that. But anyway, Kaga, good boat. Oh, shoot. I didn't come back to our regular mode. I've just been panning around the ship. All right. What about Karl Johan the 14th B?
Karl, is that the first one we've talked about that was new this year?
It might be.
It might be.
New
so
this
year.
Is I don't know if it's the first
new this year to the Black Ship collection.
Oh, yeah.
The Karl 14 Johan B
Bravo
is a tier 9 European battleship. It's a hull. It's the hull off of the Prinz Ruprecht, German tier 9 battle cruiser, but with 305 millimeter guns, like we were talking about, similar to like Brandenburg. And then this also has a bunch of torpedoes, as you can see there. It has like Ostergotland torpedoes, I think.
I think
and
so.
It has it's got a very low concealment because it's more modern. This ship's only a couple years old in general. It has a bunch of secondaries. You can build it for secondaries, although I would contend that that's not its best functionality, but it's fun that way. And my normal yes. Karl Johan, I play that way in ASIMs quite a bit. It's great for secondaries, hit missions, fires, and torpedo hit missions. In a battleship, it can do a bunch of stuff, and it's fun in ASIMs that way. But it can be fun in randoms too. And now there's a new, Wargaming's putting out a whole new line of tech line European battleships that have some similar characteristics to this, although probably more similar to the Njord, which was last Christmas stockyard ship, which is also on this hull but has different guns. What do you think of Karl?
I just now noticed the name on the back with the filigree. I assume that's on the regular version too, but it looks nice. I'm a fan of Karl. I think Karl is fun. You mentioned it's only a year or two old. And that is true. And because of that, it's a low concealed battleship, like the ones we were just talking about. You know, you and Snob were talking, hey, all the battleships are really stealthy now. This is one of those battleships. I like the those guns, like we talked about. These are, you know, same kind of size as we talked about with Karl, or with Brandenburg earlier, or Brandenburg. The torpedoes, I looked up 13.5 kilometers. You got 2 launchers on each side. If I zoom in here, you can kind of see those. So a total of 4 launchers. They're not high damage torps, but they're easy to hit with because they're those faster Euro torps, which is cool. Karl's blast, and you mentioned that you've got yours built for secondaries because you take it into ASIMs or co-op type modes like that, and that's a really fun way to build that boat for those modes. And the secondaries and the torpedoes and the mains, if you kind of build for all that with the stealth, even in randoms, if you build for secondaries, like you mentioned, I agree with you. I don't think that's the most effective build for it, but it doesn't mean it's not fun. And so, like, if you actually build that way, now you've got torpedoes that go 13 kilometers. Your secondaries are like, what are they, like 11-ish somewhere?
They're only 10.5. That's the rub with it, right? So like, kind of like with Iwami, right? Where like it can work that way, but so many of the German and Pan American and everybody American secondary battleships at that tier have a lot more range.
Yeah, and so like
cruisers now too. Everybody, watch out.
But your detection is 10.6 kilometers when it's built.
Yeah,
you know, which is so ridiculous. And so now you've got these secondaries that go, 10.5, but your detection is 10.6. So the instant you get spotted, your guns are like ready to rat-a-tat-tat, and you can torp somebody. And so for bots in ASIMs or something, that's a gas.
Yeah,
but you can kind of fiddle around with that in randoms too. And as long
you can totally play that way with it in randoms.
It's fine.
And it has hydros, and it has really good hydros.
Yeah.
So you can brawl, you can get in close, and you can, it's relatively maneuverable. It doesn't have a ton of HP.
Hydros, yeah.
But
yeah, the HP is a little bit light on it, but it's nimble, it's fun, it's got every tool that battleships get pretty much. It's pretty darn good. So for me, this is a fun boat. It is a new one this year. It is a tier 9. It's going to be a little bit pricey in terms of being a high tier Black Friday ship. I don't remember what this one
62.
Oh, really?
It's actually for a 9. It's at that more affordable price. They have it at the uncommon price point.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit better than I would have thought. I would have guessed, $74 or whatever, but that's not terrible. So again, if you're looking at one real money purchase, this could be a decent one to go for. TMNT says Rhode Island B or Borgonia. It's an interesting comparison because you can't buy those with the same currency. We'll talk about Rhode Island B a little bit later. TMNT, it's coming up soon. So pin that thought, hold that thought, and we can talk about it. But I like both those boats. I think you're going to be hard pressed to go wrong with either one. Short answer anyway. Karl, good boat, $62, kind of expensive, but if you got $62, you want to buy a pixel boat, you could do worse. Kearsarge B, Scotta. I like Kearsarge B. 12 gun salute. North Carolina guns. Easy to hit rockets that do big damage to large superstructures and battleships. Pretty good. I think Kearsarge B is probably one of my favorite hybrids in terms of power and strength. The big brick is really farmable. Everyone likes to complain about that, but they ignore the strengths while they complain about that. And the strengths of this boat are many and varied. And I think you're generally in alignment with that. But what do you think about Kearsarge B?
Yeah, I mean, again, Kearsarge is available for coal. So keep that in mind. But the ship itself, came out before the American hybrid line of, Nebraska and I don't remember what the 9 is. Louisiana's the 10. But the American tech line hybrids have bombers, and this has rocket planes with the Tiny Tim powerful HE rockets, and really good. Like the guns on this are off North Carolina at tier 9. And I remember when this came out, people were like, well, it's not very good. No, it's awesome because it slaps and you get 12 of them, and the broadside is really strong. And you've got good range, and if you're comfortable with American guns, they're very effective. The rocket planes, again, you can spot things with them, and they're really good against other battleships. Easy to land a lot of those rockets on another battleship and start fires and do a lot of pen damage. As far as like hybrids go, golly, as hybrid battleships, this might be my favorite one.
It's gotta be. I think it's probably it's certainly my favorite hybrid battleship. I think that's a safe statement.
I
The ones
liked
that are out so far.
Louisiana a lot, and then they nerfed it. So, like, when they nerfed the bombers so that you couldn't smash destroyers as easily because all those guys whined, it's not fair, you can't see me and then you can kill me. So,
Yeah.
like, that part was a
Yeah.
drag. So, but as far as these go, like, I think, and then you got, tier 9 premium economy on it, which is really nice. I hadn't played Kearsarge in a long time, and I played it in an ASIM recently because of Liberty Harbor.
Hmm.
uh, and had a great time in it and did a ton of damage and smashed a bunch of bots and things with it. And it's really good. And I've had great games and randoms with it too. It's just a good battleship. Like you said, the flight deck is a wart that's all 16 millimeter superstructure up there, and it eats pens. So if you're fighting one of these, just blast the crap out of that. If you're in a DD or a light cruiser, just you can just saturate that super quick and just do a lot of damage, just a lot of full pen damage to the side of that thing, and that's its Achilles heel. But
Yeah.
it's a pretty good ship otherwise. I know a lot of people don't like hybrids. They don't like carriers. This game should only be, you know, Arkansas Bs, and
It
we
should be
should
whatever
only
boat I'm in, and you shouldn't be allowed to buy
yeah,
it anymore.
exactly. How dare you enjoy one of the other 800 boats? It should only
Yeah.
be what I like.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I think this boat's good. And when I think about it, and I think about the hybrid, at least hybrid battleships, I think this is probably my favorite one in the game at this point.
Yeah, it is a strong boat that is not hard to excel in. And there's still some fun nuance to it, right? Learning to land all 12 of those shells because they're slow, right? It's the North Carolina slow boy shells, is a challenge. Learning to launch your planes, angle your ship appropriately, land the rockets, switch back, and while your planes are still there spotting, spot for yourself and get your own hits. Like it's a cool way to play the game, and it's not overpowered, but it's capable, right? And I think it's a pretty darn good boat. And even if you don't use the planes effectively, the guns are great. And if you already know how to run battleships, um, you're gonna make some stuff happen with this boat. So I think Kearsarge B is good. We mentioned, I think already, that it is a coal ship, so you can get it for free for coal. So you
Mhm.
don't need to get the Kearsarge B version. You can go get the freebie version out of the coal store. But again, if this falls out of a container for you or something, now you know a bit more about it or whatever. I'd have a hard time recommending somebody go pay full freight for it. Just go get the coal version and save yourself the bucks, as we've been saying all night. Um, but again, a good boat, all in all, and it's for
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like it's been very power crept, even with the tech lines coming out, and it's still capable.
no.
So
If this was this boat and it was the 12 North Carolina guns at tier 9 on a hull like this, which is sort of kind of like a Montana style hull,
mhm.
and it wasn't a hybrid, it just had a normal superstructure, people would love the bejesus out of this, right? It would, oh, that's such a great premium because you've got the
Yeah,
12 guns,
yeah.
but you've given me the tier 8 guns at tier 9, but I get 12 of them in a tier 10 style ship. Oh, it's so great.
And
And
they
just,
slapped in flight deck on the top.
yeah, because it has the flight deck on there and it's a hybrid,
Yeah.
there was a lot of negative towards it, but it's a really good battleship.
And I do think a lot of the community who've, they got it out of a Christmas box, or they didn't have anything else for Cole, so they finally got it. I think people have played it and been like, this boat's kind of good, like low key, I kind of
Yeah.
dig it. And so like it's coming around and building a little fandom, and you guys can be a
Mhm.
part of that fandom if you want. You don't have to, of course, but
For $62.21.
there you go. All right, next boat, Lazo B. I love Lazo. Lazo is one of my favorite boats in this video game. It is a light cruiser that loves to take citadels, but man, oh man, does it have range and easy to hit with guns. If you like light cruisers with flat arcs, this is a great boat. And it's got a goofball spotter that has like a 0 second cooldown. It's like a 10-second cooldown. And but then you can launch it again and keep your range up. So you can sit at range with excellent guns, high velocity, flat arcs, easy to hit with, and just plink and burn people to death in slow battleships that can't do much about it. but you'll always, as I like to say, Lazo takes exactly 2 citadels a game. One, so that you lose half your health and you go, oh shoot, I got to be more careful. And then the second one kills you, right? And so you do got to learn to be careful about those things. That's my story I've told too many times. Lazo's great. Lazo, also a coal boat. Didn't used to be, but did get added to the coal store. And she's a cheap coal boat too. In fact, it's one of the first coal ships I bought on my alternative accounts, my EU account. I don't think I have it on my Asia account yet, but I will get it. I think I got Scharnhorst 43 over there first, actually, which surprised even me. But yeah, dude, I love Lazo. Scotta, your Lazo thoughts. I think you're a fan too. Maybe not quite
Yeah,
as vocal
it's
as
a lot
me,
of
but
fun.
you like the boat.
No, I like it quite a bit. It's a lot of fun. It's like a premium shores.
Yeah, very much
Basically you're
so.
like,
Yeah.
and it has insane range for the tier, and it has the the spotter planes that are short duration, fast reload. And so if you pair that with like the, what is it, like eye in the sky captain skill or whatever, you get
Mm-hmm.
like even more of those planes. And it's there's only a few ships that have that kind of spotter like this in Vallejo, and some other ones. But it's a lot of fun, and it's fun at tier. You can get work done at if you're bottom tier in this because the range is so good, and you have 12 guns. So you learn. This is a great trainer for that Russian light cruiser skill set that you want to eventually have for stuff like Nevsky. The difference is that Nevsky can take a hit and this can't. So you really learn how
Yeah.
to speed juke, turn away, angle fire, do all the things you need to do in a ship like this in the open water to stay alive, because it only has like 36,000 hit points and it's very squishy. But the guns are very easy to use, and like gets a lot of fires. It's a fun cruiser. I enjoy Lazo quite a bit, but again, 75,000 coal for the coal version might be that's
That's
probably the way to
so
get it.
cheap. It's so cheap, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't mean to say you're going to get 75,000 coal in 5 minutes or anything, but you'll get it eventually. And I know a lot of people would say, never buy a tier 7 coal ship until you have all the tier 10s and then get all the tier 9. Yeah, okay. But like, get boats that are fun. Get boats that make it fun to play World of Warships. Don't make this a job. And there are fun tier 10s. There are fun tier 9s. There are fun tier 8s. Absolutely. Go get those boats too. But like, when I look at like this boat and Scharnhorst 43, which are both available for coal, uh, those are two great fun pickups that make it fun to play World Warships. So, in my opinion, now,
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people were like, "Wow, Lazo! They made a Lazo." I don't think a lot of people were like expecting this as a black ship last year. I was so excited when it came out. I was like, "Yes, another Lazo! It's my lucky
Mhm.
day." Because it's just one of the boats that I find challenging and therefore fun to play. But whereas sometimes I like to play bad boats that are challenging, this is a good boat that's challenging, right? There's no bad boatness to this boat. It does punish you though for being foolish, and I like to be foolish sometimes. Anyway, I could sit here and talk about Lazo forever, but we should move along. Loyang B, Scotta, your thoughts on the Pan Asian Premium Tier 8 destroyer?
Yeah, Loyang is a Pan Asian premium tier 8 Benson. The interesting fun of this has got to be like one of the first like Pan Asian premium DDs. It feels like one of those like
This is
progenitors
a
where they're like, let's
super
put
old
a
one.
DD over
Yeah.
there. Where it differs from the rest is this has really good concealment like a Benson. It also has like amazing hydros, which not a lot of destroyers have that. And so when you think of Pan Asian premiums with hydros, it's like this and Silly Wangi. This has really good hydros. It still has good torpedoes. It still has good guns off the Benson. You can trade out the hydros for speed boost if you want, but you should just play with the hydros. But this is an older premium that still checks out, I would contend. It's still a fun boat that can be used in a lot of different modes. Good smoke duration, Pan Asian smokes, and it's if you're comfortable with Benson, then this is that in the Pan Asian world, but with hydros, which make it a fun ship to play.
Yeah, and there's two sets of torpedoes as well. There's a really like is it a 6.7 kilometer range torpedo? Let me
Oh,
pull it up
I don't
here.
remember.
And they're faster and really dangerous. Mine is not built because I use my regular one, although I should probably finish building it out. Yeah, you can swap it out for 6.7s. Um, over here, you just buy the different ones. But and those do 16,633 damage base. if I switch to the others, it's only 11,600 damage with a 9.2 kilometer range. So what I used to do when I first got the original Loyang is I would play this thing with the hydros on and those short range torpedoes in ranked and just go like jump islands and torpedo battleships and stuff. Super kind of fun to do that with this boat in brawls. The gun DPM is medium, you know, it's not super high. Like you've been comparing or describing it as kind of like a Benson, and it's very much like that, right? So, you know, there are better gunboats out there.
Yeah.
But this
I would
is such
consider this a hot. This
all-rounder.
isn't. This is it's like a you know we tell everybody's like, is it a gunboat DD or a torpedo boat DD? I would contend this is a hybrid. Like this is one of the in between style,
It's a
kind of like
true
Benson.
hybrid. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you throw the hydros on there, and that just makes it so strong, especially in a ranked configuration. I think it is down
They're
one
like
gun. This is a
hydros have really
four-gun
good
boat.
range too, don't they?
They do. Yeah. And
Yeah, they're not
decent
like British
duration if you go for
hydros.
'em.
They're like good
Uh,
hydros.
Yeah, they're not British. They're good. Yeah, 5.5 kilometers, right? So a lot of the hydros at this tier are 5.0s. But it's definitely worth digging into. Again, I think let me pull up the Benson real quick. I think it is down one gun from Benson. And so again, it's not about the gun DPM. It's about the sensor. Yeah, there's a fifth gun on Benson. It's about that ability to push enemy DDs, keep them from using their smoke, force them from around islands, and then you'll collaboratively gun down anything that you need to. It's a great little boat. So.
Yeah.
And Loyang's cheap. I actually bought Loyang B with my real money, no kidding, on my EU account as one of my early premiums over there because of all the things we just said. And I use it in ranked and I use it in brawls to earn credits because it was one of my first credit earners on that account. And I still play it. I love Loyang. So easy recommendation. Old premium, like you said, still checks out. Decent little boat. I think most of them are Atari. They're mostly American, I think.
Yeah, American. There's a lot of Russian ones too.
That's true. Yeah,
It depends on which Pan Asian nation is being represented. Like if it's PRC, it's they're usually Russian.
And a lot of the lower mid-tier ones are Russian. The upper tier ones are more American flavored. So Lushun B, we had Lushun in the dockyard originally. I'm a big Lushun fan. This is well known. It's a gunboat destroyer with a zombie heal, so it heals consistently but slowly over a long period of time. Lushun is a really strong AP pen, decent HE, it's just fine. It's got 11-kilometer deep water torpedoes that can hit cruisers, battleships, or aircraft carriers. And then again, just 4 guns, but with a really fast reload. I find Lushun really fun to play, really easy to play. Good concealment as well. No smoke, not very fast, no speed boost. So I know that was kind of like the fast facts of Lushun. It was originally a dockyard ship, the original flavor. The B was also a dockyard. So you can't buy this one. But if you've been grinding the dockyard, then this one is available to you. If you have not been, then this is a boat that you'll see out there that other people are going to be fighting you in.
Well, you can buy it. You can buy every stage of the dockyard.
I suppose that's true.
Recommend
You
it.
could buy, just cash out on it, but that would be an expensive way to get this boat. But yeah, I'm a big Lushun fan. I'll leave it at that. I like a gunboat destroyer. I like the high velocity shells that are flat and easy to hit with, even if it's only 2 double barrel turrets. But I think you did the original Lushun dockyard. I don't know if you've unlocked this one or if you're trying to.
I've done every dockyard.
Yeah.
There's a dockyard I didn't do.
Well, no, I didn't know if you did the black one. That's where I was ramping up to. If you did.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it occurred. I think I've unlocked. I've unlocked it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've unlocked it at time of recording.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but I mean, not that I was like, oh, I got to get a copy of the one I have. I have a mission now, and I think the mission will give me like 4,000 dubs. So there's that.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
But yeah, no, it's a neat boat. Some say it's better than Smalland. So
I'm a big fan who would say that. But,
some say that.
But then,
but hey, it's fine. It doesn't have smoke. It's a gunboat with hydros and deep water or Pan Asian style torps. But yeah, it's a pretty productive boat. I was just sitting here thinking, I thought, I wonder if they did this one, if the reason they did Neustrashimy B this year was because it's the same boat and they already made this camo and they were like, well, we could just
Last night when I was gathering these pictures, I said, "Hey, wait a minute." I think we talked about this before, but
I don't know. I feel like I just put that together for myself, and I'm like, well, I don't know. But yeah, no, Lushun is a fun gunboat. Certainly seeing a lot of them playing right now because people are finishing up the dockyard and giving it a try. Again, though, you can directly purchase this one unless you were an insane person and really wanted it
that'd
badly.
Be silly. Don't do that.
It's Lushun or Lushun B in whatever iteration is a good destroyer.
Yeah, great boat. It's a good destroyer hunter, good for fighting destroyers, things like that. But not not available for just direct purchase in any normal way. And so again, I think it's a fun one and worth playing for sure. I think I have a review on this boat on my account. It might have been like one of the last.
Yes, yeah, it's the one I mentioned where you talk about it in comparison.
Where I was like, I like this boat better than
Small.
Small, it's hard to hit with. But yeah, solution is there's a review on my channel. So if you want like real details.
Yeah, we also did a dockyard ship show where I'm pretty sure Lushun was covered as well.
Oh, that's true. So yeah, you can check out the episode of ship show about dockyards. Let us move along to Mainz B. Scotta, Mainz B.
Well, the Mainz is a tier 8 premium German cruiser. That's it's a former heavy cruiser hull with thinned out armor, but it has 12 German. What are they, like 180 millimeter?
I think they're 150. I think they're just 152s.
152. I can't remember what they are, but a very high DPM, light cruiser that was a very popular premium when Mainz came out, or Mainz came out. Mainz B obviously just follows upon that. So good range, high DPM, very usable guns, German quarter pen with the HE, good fires for the most part, even though it's German. 6-ish kilometer torpedoes probably, but a lot of fun. I think the one downside to this at tier is the lack of a heel. If it had a heel, it would probably be overpowered.
Yeah.
But again, similar in playstyle. If you happen to have a Weimer, or if you happen to have an affinity for the Nuremberg or the guns on the Nuremberg, there's also newer ships coming out this year. There's a ship called the Bremen coming out at Christmas time. That's a tier 10, basically this. But it's a fun ship to play that does a lot of damage and is an interesting play style, different than playing Hipper or Prinz Eugen. In fact, it kind of feels more like, frankly, the way I would play Hindenburg at tier 10, just with smaller guns.
Yeah. I think the gun, actually I can look. The main battery firing range is 17.5 kilometers, which is pretty darn good, right? They're 150s. I did confirm that. So they're light cruiser guns, but it's got the German quarter pen. It's got, like you said, a decent fire chance at 9% for such a small gun for a German ship is pretty good. And then just the number of shells you're chucking out there, 12 shells at a time with a relatively good reload time, 6 seconds base, or 6 seconds, I should say, in my build. And so like pretty decent little reload. Yeah, Mainz is great. It's very popular. I believe you can still buy Mainz in the regular armory for real money, and you could use a 25% off or whatever the Dubs discount coupon is that you get periodically. Or you can get the black version. The black version looks cool. I was just showing the red Iron Cross on the deck. It's got the chromed turrets and stuff. I think it's a good looking Black Friday ship. And I think a ship with a good reputation. I don't know. Do we see these in ranked still? Is it a thing that people take there, or is it really just like a farmer for?
Yeah, you have to ask chat because I haven't played ranked in a long time.
I feel like I haven't played a lot of ranked, but I don't think I see too many of them. They show up every once in a while. Chat, what do you guys think? Is this something that's showing up in ranked, or is it really better in randoms and in operations where kind of the HE spammy farming is a big asset? I know it's comfortable in those modes. I'm just not sure if people are taking it to ranked these days.
These ships were like this, and Weimar were very popular in operations because the capability to do the torpedo rushes that they can do as well.
Mm-hmm. And then just the quick reloads that you can swing your guns round and round pretty quick and pick off targets all over the map, which is great for those kinds of modes as well. I'm a big Mainz fan. I think it's a good ship, and this is a good way to get a discount on one. So if
it's like $30. It's a better deal than buying the normal one. This is probably the time to get this boat if you want to get it, and it is a fun ship.
Yeah, easy recommendation. I think this is definitely a solid pick.
Mhm.
Massachusetts B, also one of the first Black Friday ships I bought on my Europe account, and I use that as an example to just say, hey, I went over there, and as a CC who has these boats on this account, some of which I bought, some of which I got through being in the program. These are boats that I chose to spend my own real money on when I got my secondary account. I definitely bought Massachusetts B over there on my EU account. As one of the very few black ships that I've picked up for cash directly. It's unique. You can't get it anywhere. It's got a 40-second cooldown on the heel. It's got excellent secondaries. It's got American AA and things like that. I mean, and I feel like everything that needs to have been said about Massachusetts has probably already been said. It's a great ship, a great pickup, and this is the best time of year to buy one because you can just pick it up for a flat price and walk away happy with a cool looking version of Massachusetts.
And this is really the one where, for most players, if you don't have it and you have money to spend on Black Friday, this ship's $37 and it's awesome.
Yeah, this is probably the most
It's just
popular ship this time of year.
It's a
It has
ton
to
of
be,
fun.
I assume. But
The secondary DP, this is what we used to joke about, like the real American battleship split was
yes,
this and Georgia and Ohio, right? And it was this, this different play style. But this ship is really, the great secondaries, and the 40-second heel cooldown is insane.
it's so short and stubby, which means that
It's short and
people are gonna
stubby.
miss it when they shoot at it
Yeah.
at range.
And the main battery isn't super accurate, but it's not as accurate as Alabama, I don't think, but it's still very good with American 406.
But you're planning on
for
being up close
brawling
anyway. Yeah,
you don't have torpedoes, but it's okay. And this ship's just a ton of fun. It's good I've played this in tier 8 ranked in the past. I've played this in tier 8 clan battles in the past. I've played this in tier 8 co-ops. I've played this in anywhere you could take this boat. It's always just a fun ship to have. So if you don't have a Massachusetts, this is where to get it. And this is one you dig into your piggy bank for.
yeah. I mean, it's not an exaggeration to say this is one of the most beloved ships in World of Warships. Like, it just is. We've got a lot of popular ships in the world, but this is definitely one. If we look at the players, I'm pulled up the server statistics over here, and in fact, I'll throw this link in chat. You guys can follow along. But I looked at tier 8 battleships. The number one ship, tier 8 battleships on the NA server for player count is Massachusetts with 1,677 ships. The second most popular ship is Massachusetts B with 1,391 players. I think I said ships a minute ago, but I meant players. And then next is Tennessee with 1,000, then Alabama with 1,054. So it's 3,000 players are playing this boat on NA in the last 30 days, I think, versus 1,000 players have played the next best ship in the list. When we look at battle count, Massachusetts B is almost 15,000 battles. Alabama is the next most popular ship with just 4,263 battles. So just the popularity of the ship is absolutely it's just incomparable. Not to use another battleship pun, but it is just incomparable to any other ship that's here. U.S. ship, at least that's here.
Real ship, still a museum ship.
That's true too. Yeah.
Shot up the Jean Bar in real life. That was its claim to fame in fighting for Casablanca when Jean Bart was taken over by the PC French and was being basically used as a gun emplacement because it wasn't fully assembled.
Right.
And Massachusetts smashed it, and they were like, "Nope, we're done." So yeah,
quit
Massachusetts
using that,
is rad.
Yeah, it's great. So again, if you're looking to buy one Black Friday ship and you don't have Massachusetts yet, such an easy recommendation. So
yep,
and not one you can get any other way. Yeah, let's move along to Munchen B. Munchen B. So Munchen, it was trying to be like a tier 7 mines. It's not quite. And it's got the unfortunate. It's got the unfortunate comparison with Weimar, right? So Munchen has range, no armor, and not as many torpedoes. Weimar has a turtleback, no range, higher DPM, and better torpedoes, right? So it's a really interesting comparison. And Weimar wound up just being a lot more popular. So I was really surprised when they made Munchen into a B ship and they didn't make Weimar, because I think they would have sold more Weimars, personally. But I like Munchen well enough. I think it's kind of a fun ship to play. I don't think a lot of people are clamoring for it, for a second copy of it in a B ship though. But it's kind of, like we talked about Lazo, it's a low armor light cruiser that's going to be spamming from range, but it just doesn't have the benefit of that cool spotter that Lazo has, and it doesn't quite have the gun velocity and ease of use that Lazo's guns have. So for me, for my money, I guess Lazo's a coal ship, so you can get it for free. Munchen is not. And also, I don't think Munchen, I couldn't find it for purchase. So maybe I'm wasting a lot of time talking about this right now, but I don't think
Yeah,
you
they
can
did
buy
not.
Munchen right now.
They didn't bring Munchen B back this year. You can buy the actual Munchen right now,
But not the Bravo
but then the
version or the
Munchen
black
B is
version.
not available during this event. I think it might be in some of the crates,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe kind of.
It
Let me
is in the
look.
crates. I did check yesterday.
Yeah, so there you go.
So you can get it out of a crate, but you
So
can't buy
rare.
it. Yeah. But again, I don't think Munchen is the kind of thing that people are like waiting outside the store for. And so but I do think it's good looking. Like, it's got the Iron Cross, it's got the cool textured bow like we see with second gen Black Friday ships. It's got the Damascus steel and everything. And again, I like this boat well enough. But I think you could probably either pick up the original with a regular Dubs coupon, but I wouldn't whale crates trying to get this, and I don't think a lot of people would be like, why would you even tell me about that, Clyde? I wasn't going to try that, but like, but odd. I thought it was an odd choice for Black Friday ship just because Weimar was so much more popular, when they came out with this one. I don't know if you have any additional thoughts on Munchen. Otherwise, I think we can jump to the next one.
It stinks and I don't like it. Next.
Yeah, you're not a fan. Yeah. Why don't you tell us about Napoli B? I think you like Napoli B.
You should just get Napoli for coal.
Mm-hmm.
Next. Like, no, Napoli's a tier 10. Everybody, like everybody knows what Napoli is. Napoli is a tier 10 Italian super cruiser, heavy cruiser, made famous by having SAP secondaries that are insanely accurate for a cruiser, with fuel smoke and larger caliber guns that are AP or HE. Napoli's a lot of fun, has torpedoes, and is good for brawling. It's good in a lot of modes. It's popular enough in clan battles that most seasons it gets banned.
Yeah.
But yeah, Napoli is a lot of fun. I know we've talked about Napoli before in the coal ship video, so I don't know that we need to belabor the point of what Napoli is. Napoli's a coal ship, and I would say go get it for coal. Don't spend $100 on it or however much they're selling it for.
Yeah, agreed. And just briefly, like it is one of the few secondary cruisers in the game that works, right? It's got the smoke, as you mentioned, that makes.
Oh, there's a whole line of those now, Clyde. I'm not sure if you've heard.
There is, but I still think Napoli is probably better than those ones. But I don't know. Napoli's a lot of fun. It is more fun in something like a clan battle or a ranked. When you got 12 players on the enemy team looking for you in a random, it can be a little bit less. You're a little less freedom of movement, but I still think Napoli is a good pickup. It does get banned in clan battles. If you're buying this to get into clan battles, don't, because it gets banned so often that's just a bad use. Get the coal version. The coal version's free. And then a little historical context. Remember when Napoli was coming out and everyone said, I don't know, man, an Italian cruiser without SAP, I don't think I'm gonna get that. And then it came out and it was like it's way more popular than any other Italian cruiser in the game.
It's way more popular than Venezia, that's for sure, because it's so tough. I mean, it's hard to citadel.
It's tanky,
and it goes quick, and you can, even in randoms, it works in a way because you just overrun. People over push with it.
Yeah. But
the secondaries are a hassle, and they can get kills with torpedoes, and he has bigger caliber guns, so you get some overmatch against other stuff like cruisers. So it's just really good.
Yeah, good boat. Get the coal version, save yourself the money, and then if you're gonna spend money, go get something more unique that you can't get for free.
Yeah, go get that Massachusetts and a Jean Bart instead.
Yeah, 100%. Neustrashimy B. This is one of the new ones for this year. Tier 9 destroyer with a super heal. So we talked about the zombie heal that comes on the Lushun, which is a slow heal over a long period of time. Neustrashimy at tier 9 has a big heal that happens over a short period of time. It's also very stealthy. I think it's in the mid upper fives. I can't remember specifically if it's 5.8. I think is maybe its concealment. So really stealthy little boat, decent guns, good torps, super heal with smoke, and then good conceal. So it's a good little boat. You can do a little bit of gunboat work, you can do a little bit of boat work, and then you can recover if you make a mistake. Brutus confirms, says, yeah, 5.8 kilometers. Thanks, Brutus. Appreciate you. I like Neustra. It is available for coal. We talked about the Black is a Steel Legend. Neustra is also, I think, on the Steel Legends list.
Yeah.
Is it not? Yeah, because it's pretty.
Yeah, it was a steel ship for a long time, and a lot of, frankly, I don't think it sold well.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's one of those ones they ultimately brought back as a coal ship that costs a lot. It's an expensive coal ship.
Yeah.
But I would still say to get it that way if you want it. It's really expensive for this tier 9 premium version's like $100 US.
That's a lot of money.
Because all the prices are set now by the new ratings or rankings, and because Neustrashimy is, even though it's a coal ship, it's a Steel Legend, so it's not an uncommon. It's red, whatever red is. Is that rare? And so because of that, the cash cost for this Black version is $97, which to me is insane. The coal version's expensive. Honestly, like, this ship, you look at the way they describe it, has this crazy heel and incredibly high survivability, true facts. Great concealment, good for spotting, low detectability, true facts. But bad maneuverability, not exceptionally quick. It does have def AA, but come on, like, unless it's a Holland, like you're not really shooting down planes. And the torpedoes aren't extremely long range for the tier. What are they, like 8s or 10s? They're not great range at tier. The torpedo, I remember the reload on the torpedoes being long.
Mm-hmm.
And then while it has the same guns as Lushun, the rate of fire is not there, and the DPM certainly is not there. So,
right.
I don't dislike Neustrashimy, but you're way better off playing the tier 9 Russian. What is it, like Ognavoy or Udaloy or whatever is there?
Is that
doesn't have the concealment, but
so it sounds to me like you had more positive things to say about Black, which is kind of in the same boat. Is Black maybe of these two, if you had to pick between them, you'd go with Black? I think I would.
Yeah, because I think the radar provides more value in a random.
Yeah, I think the radar is kind of gas on that. And I find
being able to, like, if you drive this around, like, it might be interesting to see, like, what kind of spotting damage you could get at a Neustrashimy and how long you could stay in the game by just spotting. You do have smokes. You can, you have that crazy heel. I have taken crazy gunfights in Neustrashimy with legitimate, like, gunboats at tier, where I knew once I would just hit my heel and be shooting them and be like, you have to chew through me and the heel while I'm shooting you with my weak guns, and I would win.
Yeah.
Like, I remember fighting a Chungmu that way, not known as a notorious gunboat, but still.
But still, it's a function, right? It's okay.
Right. But I just think the price on this one is bonkers. And again, it's a coal boat, and while it's an expensive coal boat, if you're a completionist and you're like, I need this in my port, get it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way. When I got Neustrashimy, I really wanted to love it. And I found that she is tanky for a DD, as Brand's saying, and your anecdote about fighting a Chungmu, similar, right? She's strong and she can recover from making those mistakes. But, as a destroyer that has a total of 23,000 hit points, right? If you're half dead and you go into an engagement, you're trying to use your super heal to stay alive. 12,000 hit points is like 2 decent battleship salvos, right? So you can get killed before your super heal has a chance to save you. So you do need to be careful and learn how to use that super heal with a ship that has such a small life meter compared to, like a British battleship that has an enormous, heal. That kind of a thing. So I like Neustrashimy well enough, but I think it's overpriced for what it is, both the Black version and the coal version. That said, for coal, a free resource. If you want to get Neustrashimy, slap a coupon on there and pick it up, get the coal version and have a nice day. For me, for the 2025 introduced Black ships, this one's the clunker. And what really sucks about that is how danged expensive it is. So, like, that part of it's even worse. So if you're just like a hoarder or a ship completionist, you're like, man, I got to pay $100 for this thing. Are you kidding me? Right.
Like, I could buy, a case of top ramen and, some bottled water for that much.
Groceries, man. Let me tell you. All right. We'll go to. Now I'm coughing. You got me laughing. Pommern B. So Pommern, coal ship. You may remember. So again, the mantra of get the coal version is clear. Pommern's been around for a long time. She's one of the secondary German battleships. It's a premium, right? That kind of came out quite a while back. We've got so many German battleships. Many of them are secondary battleships now in the premium class. Pommern was kind of one of the earlier ones, maybe not the earliest, but pretty early. And so she's got the Hydra. She's got 6-kilometer torpedoes. She's got the secondaries. She's a blast to play. But because of things like the Schlieffen line, tech tree, I know, and some of the other lines or ships that have come out, we got like Karl, Johan that we looked at earlier, not German, but I mean, kind of brings either a secondary and torpedo and hydro blend to the table. Pommern's showing her age a little bit. As I mentioned, there is a coal version, which is, again, free 90 free. Get the coal version first and know what ships are available for coal. But I've had a lot of fun in Pommern, and I know a lot of other people have too. There's a lot of like nostalgia and vibes with this ship that people who were playing when it was new really enjoyed. It is an FDG hull, I believe, is the hull it's based on. And the guns I think are a little smaller, but there's more of them. Do you remember the caliber of the guns on this one?
Yeah, they're 381s. They're like
Yeah.
Bismarck guns, but you get 12 of them.
Which is a cool combo, honestly, because again, I like that smaller, higher number of guns.
Yeah, but you pay for it on reload on this one because the base reload's over 30 seconds, even with reload mod in slot 6.
That I had not remembered. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. Well, I played this ship a lot when it came out. So not the B version, but for sure. When Pommern first came out, I really loved Pommern. This was one of those ones that you schemed and you were like, well, it's got a lot of 105 secondaries, so I need to run IFHE. And I remember like back when ranked was kind of more like brawls. I just chewed through a ranked season in Pommern because it with IFHE on those secondaries, it would melt anything with 32 millimeter plate, which was a lot of everything else. The 381s aren't going to overmatch a lot, but it has hydros and torpedoes, which, it has kind of like, hey, I've got Bismarck and Tirpitz, or, I've got both of those things. So it was just like the ultimate brawler back then. And the downsides, even in that era, the Freddy Hall, if you go fast and turn, you can lift your Citadel. And this especially has terrible angles on the rear turrets, kind of like Mecklenburg does, right? Where because of the way they set up the turrets, the rear angles are hard to get engaged. You still see a lot of people play Pommern, though. You see it a lot in randoms, but it suffers from a lot of that, big superstructure problems that a lot of older German battleship designs suffer from in today's game, where it just eats a lot of HE, and it's not what it was. This ship's relatively affordable. It's a tier 9, but again, get the coal version. On my EU account, this might have been like the first or second coal boat that I bought because I wanted it because it's fun to me. So I was like, I'm gonna get that. Yeah. And I was working on German battleships anyway, so it was good for a captain trainer.
Yeah. You mentioned the large superstructure. I put that up on the screen a moment ago, just briefly, just because there is a lot of it to farm, right? And so people with spammy HE shells from range, that's a classic early German secondary battleship issue. Seems like an unfair term, but like attribute, right? Where they are a little farmable. But
yeah, like if you had a Lazo B or a Mainz B, this would be a great target to farm.
There you go, right? But again, like still, decent heel on it. Like you said, nice secondaries. Got the 12 gun salute there with the main battery. What was I was just gonna pull up the price on this one. So $62.
62
US monies. If you're looking for this one, and available probably on the dub side because this one's been around for a long time.
Yeah, just get it for coal.
But get it for coal. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Save it, get the coal version, and but a lot of good memories in this boat. A lot of folks will tell you good stories.
Yeah, it was fun when it was a thing, and it's not as much fun now. It is what it is.
And so pay free money for it instead of real money.
Yeah,
is always good advice. Puerto Rico B. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, we're here. Phew. I I know people like Puerto Rico, but I don't. So I find Puerto Rico's accuracy to be frustrating, and I find it to be not very maneuverable. And those are two problems that I have with boats that don't bring those things to the table. So for me, Puerto Rico is hard to love, but that's not Puerto Rico B's fault. It is Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico's just nature for me. We talked about Alaska earlier. Alaska to me is the good version of this ship, and Puerto Rico is the collector's version of this ship. That's a little bit harder to love. It's such a fan favorite though, because people love that it's got 4 turrets, all 12 guns. It's got as many hit points as some battleships, right? And so you're bringing a battleship in the cruiser slot, and it plays like a battleship. It's got the radar. So it is a fan favorite. This is a well-loved ship. Earlier, I was like Massachusetts, probably one of the most well-loved ships in the game. Puerto Rico's not to that level in my mind and in my perception of player opinion of these ships. But I think it is a well-loved ship, and partly it's because of the mystique and the allure of that first dockyard where it was such a grind to get. And so people that have it, it was a really special thing for them to have in their port. But I think that I have a more meh opinion about Puerto Rico than you do, but I am curious about your take on the ship. Like, you've probably logged more battles than I have in it. And how has it treated you? Because I don't see you choosing it to bring it out really that often.
We
It
don't
doesn't mean
play
that you don't
together.
dislike it. Yeah, I was going to say,
So
we don't play together too much these days. Partly because
yeah,
you're tested all the time. But, like, what do you think of
yeah.
Puerto Rico and the idea of the B ship here?
Like Puerto Rico is the original dockyard ship,
Yeah.
the hardest dockyard ever, and that's when I got my Puerto Rico. So the rest of you peasants can suck it. Uh, that's how I feel about Puerto Rico. They brought it back
Let
for a
them eat
second
cake is happening
dockyard.
again,
They
isn't it?
brought it back for a second dockyard when it was easier for
That's when I
people.
got mine. Was when it
And
was
that's when you
easy.
got yours. And
Yeah.
you don't have the cool camo that we got when we did it the hard way the original time. So suck it again. And
Ah,
as far as the black version of it, I was kind of surprised. They were like, we're going to make this a black ship. And then they were like, it's only going to be available in this crazy expensive bundle with everything. You can't get it any other way. And I thought, okay, yeah, thanks, Wargaming. That fits. As far as the ship play itself, when Puerto Rico was originally, brought along, you're like, whoa, it's going to be a tier 10 Alaska with more guns. It's like, it's a mini Montana. What is this thing? It's wild. It's got radar, yada,
yeah,
yada, yada.
yeah.
And like, it has a lot of hit points. And I remember playing it in clan battles on and off back then, especially when there would be seasons where it would be like, oh, we can only have one BB. And I'd be like, I'll play this and be another BB. And I find it frustrating because of the battleship dispersion. So it doesn't have battle cruiser dispersion because I guess that would have made it too good. I wasn't in test back then, but I believe that change was made in the original testing way back in the first dockyard version. And they gave it battleship dispersion, which I think makes it's a big penalty to it. It has 60-second fires, which you can't
Yes.
do anything
Yeah.
about anymore. And so it's not, in my opinion, as good now as it was when it first came out. And I didn't think it was amazing then. I got it and was like, I have this, and and then I didn't like playing it because when this first came out, there was so much heat from certain CCs at the time that made a lot of content about how they were negative on that dockyard thing and how hard it was to get.
Yeah.
And I remember when you would play it back then, it was one of those ships where you might, now it's how we treat submarine players. It was like, oh, F you, whale, you've got
There was
this,
a
you're a
lot of
jerk.
harassment for
You'd
that.
get focused in it like a tester. It was just a drag. And so I got to the point back then where I grudged it because I didn't enjoy playing it because it wasn't a fun experience to play in the community without being mistreated or treated in a way that I didn't think was a way I wanted to be treated just for playing a game. But as far as the ship goes, in this event, if you had to have a Puerto Rico, this is, I guess, a way to get it. I think it's a lot of money. I was in a match this week where there were 4 Puerto Rico Bs,
Oh my God.
they were all from the same clan.
Were they on the same team?
No, one
Oh,
was on
okay.
my team and 3 were on a div on the other team, but they had
Oof.
clearly sync dropped. And when people were like, whoa, hey, wow, look at you guys, what an expensive, blah, blah, blah. And pretty much all of them to a man told everybody they were poor for bringing that up and that they sucked. And I thought, cool,
What a
cool, cool,
great way
cool.
to behave, you know.
What, yeah, just awesome. What a cool
Come on,
vibes you
guys, be cool.
bring, you know?
Be cool.
And so like whatever, like if you go get this and you want to spend 400 USD to get the pack, you're not just getting this. You're getting Karl, you're also getting Rhode Island,
Right.
which we haven't talked about yet, and you're getting that Neustrashimy, I believe. Um, you know, so, you know, look at it however you want, do what you want with your money. I don't necessarily think this ship is like an epic tier 10 cruiser. I think there's a lot of tier 10 cruisers that are in the way of this ship that a lot of people would rather play. And I think if everybody had a Puerto Rico, you still wouldn't see a lot of Puerto Ricos get played, based on everything else in the game and what can be played and how this plays. That said, it's not bad. It's just it's different. It's a neat ship. It has a lot of mythos behind it because of the history of being the hard dockyard and then the second dockyard and yada yada yada.
And you know, you'll hear people talking like this, and you'll hear people on Reddit threads say, "Oh, that's just a copium or whatever." No, it's not copium. Between Scott and I, we have 3 Puerto Ricos, right?
Yeah.
Like we've played the boat. We're I agree with you. I think if everybody in the world could get Puerto Rico B really quick, we'd have a big wave of them right now, just like you do when any new hot coal ship comes out. And then after a while, the people who liked it, like Asteri here in chat says, I like my Puerto Rico. That's good. The people who liked it would still play it. And the people who were like, oh, it's just that's all it is, would go back to playing their battleships or their other cruisers or whatever, right? It's fine, but it's not necessarily gonna change the way that you think about World of Warships.
Yeah,
So
I don't hate the ship. It's not like,
no,
you know,
no,
it's not like something like that. But from my point of view, you know, like, it's fine. But like, I don't reach for it. And it's not a ship that has any use case for me in regards to farming something for missions, or it excels at doing a thing that's useful in a co-op or an asim. It never leaves my peer, right? And I could go play it in randoms and do
yeah,
fine in it. I know how to play it. It's just whatever.
yeah. I should
And
play mine a
frankly,
little bit more, but
I'd probably rather go play Alaska because you're going to get the same crap matchmaking anyway.
well, that's the thing is I would rather play. So we've been talking about the dispersion. I wanted to give some numbers for that for people. So when you go to shiptool.st, the default firing range is 12 kilometers. So at 12 kilometers, the horizontal dispersion on Puerto Rico is 180 meters. On Alaska, it's 149 meters. The vertical dispersion, 95 meters on Puerto Rico, 78 meters on Alaska. At a more realistic, like 16 or let's say 17-kilometer firing range, um, it's 230 meters horizontal to 191, Puerto Rico being worse than Alaska, and then 134 to 111. So it feels like those numbers, they almost like maybe get a little closer together. Well, no, actually they don't, but they grow at slightly different rates. And so the dispersion is worse on Puerto Rico, but it's not so much worse that you won't be able to make hits ever.
No.
But it is, like
No.
you say, just a little bit frustrating enough that you're like, why wouldn't I just play Alaska with the same match?
Yeah, battleship dispersion is worse than battlecruiser dispersion, is worse than cruiser dispersion, is worse than destroyer dispersion, right?
This should surprise no one, but just to show some numbers with it, right?
I would say I'd rather play Puerto Rico than Congress.
Yeah. I threw that chat or that link in chat if you guys want to poke around with those dispersion numbers and play with them, feel free to. But that's Puerto Rico. So Puerto Rico, the other thing, and I think we've touched on it a bit, it's available only in the pack with 4 other boats for $396 American. We showed those boats on the screen just a moment ago, but it's the Karl 14th one, Johan McMeister, the
God, I wish it was called that.
Wouldn't that be fun? And the Rhode Island, which we haven't gotten to Rhode Island yet, but we will pretty soon. So let's jump on to our next boat. Puerto Rico, again, available for folks who want to buy that $400 pack. Repulse B. It's fine. It's only got 6 guns. So tier 6, fine, whatever. It's only got 6 guns. I've had some great games in Repulse B. It's fast. I think it has a speed boost, which makes it kind of unique. but I don't want to spend a ton of time talking about Repulse B. It is a fine British battleship based on a real ship. I think that's cool. I like the speed boost in it, but I wish it was either a little bit more accurate or had a couple more guns. Scott, any thoughts on Repulse there for the
Just
people
get
at
the
home?
tier 6 British split Renown, which is a sister ship to it and plays pretty much similarly.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want a premium experience, just get Renown 44 at tier 7. That gives you some more tricks. This
Oh,
ship's
that's
fine,
true.
whatever. This was one they made again back when they used to like have the bundle of stuff where you'd get a 6,
Yeah,
and it was
and it
kind of
was so
like, and
cheap
those
to
ships were,
get back then.
those tier 6 black ships were always kind of meh, or, and
Yeah,
like
a
it's
lot of them
whatever.
are.
I'm not a huge fan of this ship because I don't like 6-gun battleships.
Yeah, it's $16 if you want to get it. It is a historical ship, which is cool. And again, I've had one or two like really amazing games in it, but most of my games in it are fine, you know. So that's Repulse. We'll save a couple of minutes here because it is getting late and I do have to work tomorrow. Rhode Island is our next one. So Scott, why don't you regale us with the tale of Rhode Island from your perspective? What do you think of this
Well, it's
thing?
the named after the biggest little state in the union.
Hey, coastline for days.
Rhode Island is a tier 10 American battleship, high speed battleship. It uses the Georgia hull, um, which was used this year on that weird. What was that ship that we had that was like the weird Oregon? Yeah, same hull as Oregon, right? Why? How could
Yeah,
I
yeah.
forget that they
The
wasted the name of
Georgia,
Oregon on a
Oregon
throwaway
thing.
goofy
Yeah.
ship? So it's got that hull. It had the difference here, as opposed to Georgia. If you're familiar with Georgia, has like 6 barrels of 457. This has 12 barrels of 356, similar to what you would find on like Florida. Um, the ship has speed boost, I believe. It also has radar. Is it like a 10-kilometer radar or
Yes.
9-kilometer
I
radar?
think it's a 9. I will go into the equipment here
Um,
and peek.
But this ship's awesome. When this
Yeah.
came out, when Rhode Island initially came out, it was one of those like FOMO ships that was expensive and hard to get. People who got it played it quite a bit back then. Um, even though it has 356s, because you have 12 barrels and it has relatively good reload, and you can punish ships with those 356s because you're not going to overpen cruisers as easily. But you also get a lot of pens with that with them because they're USAP on anything you shoot with them. Alternatively, the you can spam HE with this thing, and it's a bastard that way too. It's really good at that job too. And then with that radar, late game, I have before in it, late game, then you push destroyers and find them and radar them out, and you can take them down with the guns, or you can get help from friends. So it's a powerful ship. Armor is probably its weakness. That hull isn't exactly tanky. It's not
Mhm.
bad, but it's not like this is not going to tank like Wisconsin or Montana or Ohio.
Right.
It's a different play style than that. But this is a fun ship.
Yeah, I think Rhode Island is universally enjoyed. I think people who got Rhode Island really liked it. It was available, I think, for a pretty short period of time and for money only in a pretty expensive pack. I think it was over $100 or $140
Yeah.
or something to get this boat back when it was first available. So I for one am glad to see it's available as a Black Friday ship. It's still an expensive boat, right? For any pixel boat that's at tier 10, even if it's a black ship, it's going to be expensive, and this is still the case. I believe it's cheaper. Now I want to dive into the armory to confirm, but
It
I
has
believe it's
$106.
yeah. So I think it's like $35 cheaper than it was before, and
Yeah.
so that's a good deal. I'm doing finger quotes here for everybody, but
Ugh.
it's still $106 for a pixel boat. And so while I don't want I don't want to sit here and go, wow, what a deal. Because I do think that's still a lot of money to pay for any one ship in this video game. I like that it's back, and it's back in a way that it's not $140 again, right? So for folks who are looking to pick this one up, feel free to with confidence. I think you'll like it. But I also I still think that's just a lot of money to pay for a pixel boat. But Rhode Island, good boat, well built. The speed boost is a 15% speed boost, by the way, not an 8%. So not only does she get up, but she gets up and goes, which is cool.
Yeah.
And then yeah, you mentioned the radar,
Yeah.
9 kilometers, 40-second duration, great radar, but a
Yeah.
little short
Seas
range.
Nuts mentions in chat improved pen.
Mm.
I don't know if it does it have improved pen. I know it has improved ricochet angles. It has that
That's what I
for
was
it for
just
that
pulling.
AP. But it's this is like out of the 2025 black ships, this is to me the crown jewel of this year's tranche of black ships. Mainly because you can't get it. They never brought it back to the store, I don't believe, and I think you can get it in Santa crates. So that's an option as well for whales or people who have stuff. They can try to get it that way, but as a guaranteed purchase, it's super expensive. But to me, this is the best of this year's Black Friday ships.
I agree. I think this is the one that, like, again, if you're going to spend a 3 million, I'm sorry, 3-digit number of dollars, this is as you say, the crown jewel of the year. Puerto Rico, I think, is, I don't want to call it fool's gold because it is a good boat, but it's like really expensive. You can only get it in the $400 pack or whatever. Sure.
Yeah.
But like this one, single purchase, direct purchase, a rare, highly sought after boat that was more
Puerto
expensive
Rico's
last time. This
yeah,
is cool.
Puerto Rico B is a different thing. Puerto Rico B's for a collector's thing.
That's
this
right.
is,
That's right.
but this is the best
usable
of these
battleship.
ships.
It's cool.
Yeah.
And again, if I was picking a second best one out of that 4, I'd say Karl is the next one, like, in my mind. But yeah,
Not Shill.
Rico's great. Not Shill, no. Shill's, I like Shill more than you like Shill, but
Well, we'll get there.
yeah, it actually might be next. The next boat is it's not, it's Saipan. I'm not expert enough to speak to this, but I'll try. Saipan is used to be tier 7. If you go way back in the day, it was a tier 7 aircraft carrier back when we used to have odd numbered aircraft carrier tiers, with tier 9 or 10 airplanes on it. So you had a small number of airplanes that were high tier, and so you needed to be good and take care of your planes. It's like an endurance racing driver. Oh, you gotta look after the tires, right? In this case, you had to look after your airplanes and not throw them away. Asteri makes the comment that I'm driving to here. It's a high skill floor CV. For people who are looking for an aircraft carrier challenge, I think there's a lot you can do with Saipan if you're better at carriers than me. And so I again don't consider myself fully qualified to speak to this carrier and the experience of people who are good with it. But it is definitely an interesting build. It's a historical ship, which is cool. And then, but again, you gotta keep an eye on your airplanes and make sure you don't just throw them away, because you don't have enough to survive the whole battle if you're doing that. Scott, I don't know if you've got a lot of specific thoughts on Saipan. I don't know about your experience in this one.
No. I mean, I played it. There's 3 of them, and I have them all, and I don't like any of them.
The Saipan,
to be fair, when you told this great story about how it used to be tier 7, I thought, I wish it was tier 7 now. That would make it cool.
I think it would be cool. Yeah,
that would be interesting. Like, here you go. You got an off-tier carrier, and Bob's your uncle with tier 10 planes. That's its claim to fame, is it has the planes off of the midway, but the squadrons are like half as big. The plane regeneration on it stinks, and so unless you're good, you'd get deplaned instantly, and then you're just a guy in a Saipan, and it is what it is.
Yeah, so we talked earlier about how Kaga is a good, like, early CV career CV. This is not. Yeah. This is the other one.
This is the opposite.
Get this on the other end of the spectrum. Once you're comfy and you're not losing planes, in the other CVs, you can get ready for this thing. CV mains in chat, please, chime in there, and make sure you share what is relevant. But I think Scott and I are probably tapped out on knowledge on this one, to be fair. It is out there. It's a beautiful looking ship. I think it's worth having in your port if you like pretty pixel boats, but I wouldn't go and spend money on it unless you're ready for that challenge that we talked about. So there's Saipan B. Scharnhorst B. So Scharnhorst is not available for coal, but Scharnhorst 43 is. Scharnhorst was one of my early favorite boats in this game. I love it. It's a German battleship, no hydros, with good secondaries and torpedoes at tier 7. Scharnhorst 43 you can get for coal. Very similar performance, but slightly tweaked secondary loadout and maybe a speed boost or something. I can't remember now.
Speed boost and torpedoes that reload in like 5 seconds.
That's right. They reload faster.
Yeah.
The speed boost is dope. I love high speed. So for me, I'd go get the coal one. I'd go get 43. Yep. But Scharnhorst B is here for you if you're a collector. If you just want to have it, you can get it. I don't know, Scott, what's your take on the Scharny B?
Yeah, Scharnhorst is a lot of fun a long time ago, and I think it's just totally power crept. If you don't get the Scharnhorst, isn't Scharnhorst 43 at the same tier?
It is. It's
Which is
and
bonkers.
yeah.
Like everything else they do that too, it would be a tier up. But yeah, Scharnhorst 43 is way better than this, frankly. But you can get Scharnhorst still. A long time ago when they put out the battle cruiser line, I remember saying to you, why would you play this anymore when you could go play Prince Heinrich?
Right.
And I
love
know
Prince
there's probably
Heinrich
people
too.
that would
Yeah.
disagree with that, but I would rather play 43 or Prince Heinrich than this now, unfortunately. It's a pretty ship, and if you get it out of a box, that's okay.
For sure.
But I think in 2025 that it's completely power crept.
Yeah, there are just other choices and other choices that are free. And the
Yeah.
Scharnhorst 43 coal ship is 85,000 coal or something. Like it's so cheap.
Yeah.
And if you throw a coupon at it, maybe you're a newer player. Like as I mentioned, this Scharnhorst 43 was the first coal ship I bought on my Asia account, which is crazy because like why didn't I get Lazo or
Yeah, you'd
one of the
think
other
you'd want
boats that I
something
like?
good AA over there.
I know, right? And I bought this, and it's fun, like the 43 version. Like you said, I think I'd go for one of the free tier 7 German battleships first, either the Tech
Yeah, if
3
you want this boat, you can
or
just
the
skill
43.
up to Gneisenau and the tier 7, their sister ship with the 381 turrets instead.
Mm.
I
Versus these, which are
just
tier
get this,
83s.
unfortunately, just get Scharnhorst 43. I don't know why this is just kind of was, I don't know why you'd get this one over the other one anymore. Which is
It's a
too
hard
bad.
choice. Yeah, yeah. It's silly. I'd like to go point by point one day and actually break down every single difference so we can list them all because there are a few things that are probably better on this than Scharnhorst 43, but they seem to be in areas that don't matter. I would guess. So like I'd be interested to do that math, but in general, go get the freebie in the coal shop. You'll be happier with that. But again, if you get this out of a box, play it. It's fun. Like you said, here's Shill B. I'll leave this one to you, Scott. I'll let you kick off with Shill B.
This is she'll be one of this year's entrants into the event, which is interesting. The only way you can get this one is in the chain of stuff. So in the armory, there is a thing under offers for doubloons that is like a sequence event. She'll be is the 15th item that you would get. To get it, you have to spend a total of 19,058 doubloons. It also includes a Shilby flag then, and you get a bunch of other junk. You get some crates and some stuff. It's not really as good a thing as you used to get in these lists of things. They used to be better. The ship itself, Shill itself, when it came out a few years ago, was a Tier 8 German battle cruiser. It's basically a Graf Spee or that kind of ship at Tier 8. It has, are the guns on this 283s? 283s or 305s, I can't remember.
283s.
So it's Scharnhorst guns. You only get 6 of them, one turret forward, one turret back. This has longer range torpedoes than the other German ships at the time had in the cruiser vein. Believe it has hydros. Believe it has a speed boost. Its gimmick is it has a main battery reload booster, which lets you get a couple of bursts off from these guns quicker. I think it runs long enough that you might be able to almost get like 3 salvos off. But otherwise has a heal, relatively tanky. I don't think this ship's that great, and I never thought it was that great. And then this year, right now, they've released the new German tech tree split cruiser split that are battle cruisers. And this ship is reused in that split at tier 8 as the knees back, except it has bigger guns and manual secondaries and a heal and long range torpedoes and stuff, and is better, and it's a tech tree ship. So bringing this back right now as a Black Friday ship during the time that new German line was released, to me feels kind of like, well, that's kind of why we're doing it. But it's yeah, I don't think it's very good, and I never thought it was that great.
She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming round. I don't know. I thought of another pun while you were doing that too. She'll is fine. I like it in ranked okay. Like if I wanted to take something with kind of punchy guns and speed boost and hydros and stuff in ranked, it's okay. But if you get stuck fighting DDs by yourself, you're gonna have a hard day. Oh, by the way, thanks for the raid, Plumber. Welcome to the channel. Glad to have you in here tonight. So I find shield to be fine, but the DPM is a little bit rough when you're fighting small targets by yourself. So it's more fun, I think, in a division where you got a sidekick, or again, you can take it into ranked. I think the guns work pretty well on cruisers and battleships as you need. And the speed boost is a little bit fun to play with. But yeah, I think I might have a review on this one as well. It might have been one of the later.
Yeah, I don't think it has a speed boost. I think I was wrong about that.
Oh shoot, really?
I think all it does is
It's
hydros.
reload boosters.
And the reload booster.
Yeah, sorry. The
you put a spotter on it.
Yeah, I did pull that up and I showed it on screen a minute ago, but I already forgot what was on there. But the reload booster is good, which lets you use those big guns a little bit more often. The guns are more, the shells are different than what you'd have in like Graf Bay, because this was kind of supposed to be like a tier 8 Graf Bay or something. But I do think the is it Kniesebeck or Niesbeck, like the tier 8 Tech Tree German one that came out, does give this thing probably a run for its money, and so
it has
people want to.
Yeah, the Niesbeck has bigger guns from the jump. It has like the 305s, like the Aegir guns, I think. Which I couldn't remember, because you get these guns on like the lower tier, like the Sheer. I think has these guns. On that
I think I'm on the Sheer now actually, and I think it does have 280.
And this has secondaries, but they're not manual, and they're smaller caliber secondaries. There are a lot of the 105s, and there's no really. I mean, I don't know. You don't really want to build into them on this.
It's not really about that, It's really about using, picking your shots, using the bigger cruiser guns, using the reload booster to try to make plays happen. And really, that's the trick to this guy. And like I said, I like Shill well enough, but it doesn't make me go, ooh, I can't wait to play Shill over all the other amazing tier 8 cruisers I have to choose from. Because there's a lot of great tier 8 cruisers. And so that's the challenge of any boat at this tier. It's got to compete with everything else at tier 8. And that's so hard.
I feel like they're like, we got to have a German black ship every year.
I'm confident that was part of this.
And if it was me, I would have picked like Wiesbaden instead of this. I think that would have been more interesting, because not very many people got that. And everybody's familiar with the look of it now from the tier 9 Dutch Van Cohorn. But I think that's a more interesting weird ship to put in people's hands than this is, especially with the new line that just came out that basically makes this thing look like trash, in my opinion. So
Wiesbaden would show up with a little bit more flavor, a little variety, right? Cool, we're already talking about the heavies.
Oh, look, a German tier 8 with destroyer guns and smoke. That's different.
German smoke Atlanta. Let's go.
Yeah.
What a cool idea. Yeah, that would have been a more interesting pick. Maybe next year we'll get that one. I don't know. But anyway, Shill B, here she is. Again, the Shill is also a dub ship, so there's no free way to get this one. But again, you'd want to do the math on the sequential bundles and see if your total value for total cost, if you're looking at Shill, is going to be worth your dollars. And that's an individual choice. It's up to you guys. But don't go buying Shill without doing the math first. Know what you're getting into.
Yeah, the sequential bundle, honestly, like you're not getting a lot of value out of the sequence this year. There's only one premium container in the whole sequence. They're making a big deal out of getting a monochrome death effect. It's kind of it's a bummer, and it's expensive.
Kind of value.
In the end, you're like, wow, I paid 20,000 dubs to get to this with some stuff.
It's tough, I think. To get to Shill for value.
But if you just cracked out $400 to get Puerto Rico and you're trying to get all of the ships, this is the only way to get this one.
if you just crank through that and you want to put another 80, because 20,000 dubs, by the way, $80.
That's $80.
US monies. Please translate.
2 Massachusetts blacks, or at least one Massachusetts. What is it? Massachusetts black, like
2
40
Massachusetts
US?
blacks and $6 to go buy a coffee at Starbucks when you're done.
A black coffee to boot.
Hey, that's pretty good. All right, let's go to our next ship. Next is Shinonome B. You can get Shinonome for free for completing a campaign, is it? Or a collection? I think it's a collection.
That's a campaign.
Is it a campaign? Okay. So you can get the original flavor Shinonome for free. It is a bad AA, like 9-kilometer gun range with punchy but slow rotating guns, kind of like the ones we talked about for Asashio earlier. And then 3 kilometer torpedo launchers that launch 3 torpedoes apiece with not the best concealment. I think it's 6.1, just a little over 6. Shinonome is a fun boat for people who are probably too good to be playing this boat at tier 6. Like, it's actually a boat that Chads will play a lot sometimes. Not very many, but when you see people with like 100 games in Shinonome, it can be a pretty skilled player, so watch out. It's fine. I would rather at tier 6 there's so many carriers. I would rather play Hatsuharu, which has one of the best AA ratings for a tier 6 destroyer in the game. And it says 10-kilometer torpedoes instead of 8. So it doesn't have as many torpedoes. But I think, Hatsuharu is just a more capable, more well-rounded ship than Shino. But Shino does lean in. The 3 launchers makes it really popular with people who are pretty darn good with Japanese torpedoes. I do like the guns on Shino, but the rotation's terrible. The reload's terrible. The alpha's great. So it's kind of min-maxed in a way that isn't for everyone. And I don't know if you can buy this one outright. I think you might be able to.
No, the only way you can get this one this year is it's on the premium side of the battle pass.
Oh, that's
so this is 10th stage,
pass,
the 10th stage of the battle pass on the paid side. You get Shino B.
Okay.
So it's 2,500 dubs plus you get a bunch of other stuff, but you had to pay enough to get there. Play enough to get there.
Yeah. And then you can get a mission if you have the original Shinonome for like is it 1,000 dubs back or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so you can reduce that cost a little bit. Here it is. It is 1,500 dubs back. So you can actually make it cost you 1,000 dubs if you already have the original. Yeah, thanks, chat. You guys are keeping me.
And that's if you have the original and you don't have this, and you have 2,500 dubs and you want to get the refund and you get all the other stuff from the premium battle pass.
Yeah,
I think you also get like a 10-point Japanese commander. And
like a special Black Friday commander too. Actually,
you get another Black Friday premium crate, so like that might be a worthwhile expenditure. And then it ends up yeah.
So
again, but the boat itself, you'd have to be a fan of the boat. I don't care for this boat that much. I know it's a tier 6. I'll just I'll do everybody a favor. I'll take a tier 5 and I'll just play Kamikaze. It's fine. I'll make do.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Excuse me, pardon my cough. Shino's fine. But again, I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way to get it unless I was already a Shinonome fan. Sims, Scott, I know you're a big Sims fan. Do you want to talk about your opinion on Sims?
No.
I'll take it. Sims is really fast rotation on the turrets is what Sims brings to the table. It's a USDD. It's more gun focused, but it does have torpedoes that are kind of slow but longer range. I think they go 9.2 kilometers. The concealment is not the best on Sims. I think it comes down to 6.6 kilometers. Let me know if I am right or wrong on that. I know we got C's in chat who's a big Sims fan. Sims is old. It's an old premium. It's been power crept quite a bit. People who like Sims still like Sims. People who don't like Sims are bored of it, or they're looking for something that's a little more current. I wouldn't rush out to get a Sims B if I didn't already have one. If I was a newer player, I'd look for a different place to put my tier 7 bucks. But again, if you get one out of a container, go play it. It's maneuverable, which is good. It's got good American smoke. The guns are fine. The DPM could be a little higher in my opinion. The rotation is great, so you're always able to put your guns on turret or on target with no real delay there. But the concealment is the thing that makes it a little harder to play. Anyway, that's my read on Sims. Still nothing from you, Scott?
I mean, it's if you want a premium American or tier 7 destroyer,
this is your
Sims.
Guy. Yeah, this is the one.
Because it's the only one.
Yeah.
But otherwise, no, it's not a boat that I would like to play. I don't like it. Has bad concealment.
Yeah, that's the thing that's the roughest about it.
So like I dislike that of it. But otherwise, I'm sure if I played it now, I'd be like, oh, fine, whatever. Probably. And I know that like there's a sect of old timers that are like, Sims is great. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Real
Popeye.
steel ship too. Like it's, for collectors, you'll dig it. She's a good looking boat as well. I love the US turrets that are on it and this convertible turret, the drop top over here, the rag top. best looking turret on the boat. But again, it has been power crept, plain and simple.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's a bad boat. And it is fun to play boats that have been power crept sometimes if you're looking for a challenge. A lot of people, though, are not looking for a challenge. I'm not saying that's why you don't like it, but in general, like some people are like, nah, I'm not interested in that. I'm just going
No,
to
I'm okay with I don't like it because I would rather play the new USDD split that came out.
The Hughes. Yeah.
The Hughes, which is, I believe, also it's a Sims hull. It's the same ship.
It is.
I'd rather play the Hughes. I think the Hughes is pretty good, and that's a tech tree ship you can play for free.
Yeah, she's right here. And Hughes is good.
And it has sap and better concealment.
Yeah, I find Hughes to be pleasurable to play as well. And it's got that same convertible turret. Look at this thing. Beautiful. Anyway.
Drop top.
The drop top. That's right. Anyway, Sims is out there. C says, yeah, it's not easy to play, and Hughes is way better. So, yeah, got some agreement there. Smolensk B. This is it's a giant rake that Wargaming uses to take money from the proletariat.
No, that's Puerto Rico, I thought.
Oh, shoot. Well, give it some time. So Smolensk is definitely one of those boats that they're not going to sell again in a normal way. So they've done the auction for it a time or two, and I think if we see it again here, that's how they're going to do it. I can't remember if they've announced if they're doing it officially.
This was introduced last year in an auction during this event, and my understanding is that at some point this month, this will be available again on auction during this event.
Yeah, let me grab it.
I don't know if they've announced when, but I swear they said they were going to do it. That's not like insider knowledge because that's not a thing we'd ever talk about and test, but it's coming back for that purpose at a limited count. So many of like 2,500 of them or 1,500 of them or whatever they're going to do.
Right. So when we talk about the cost of Black Friday ships, we'll have to wait and see if that winds up outpacing the price for.
It'll be cheaper. I mean, it'll be cheaper than that bundle. It'll probably be like 50,000 dubs, which is $200.
Yeah, I think that's probably.
And which is hilarious to me. Like I bought my Smolensk for coal.
Yes.
Because it was a coal ship back in when it first came out. Back when coal ships were rad. But Smolensk is a neat ship. I don't think it's as good as it was, but it's still pretty good. And I think your modern player probably gets a similar experience and does better in like a Colbert.
Yeah, there's a little more range on Smolensk, right? And
is there?
I think, isn't there?
There was, but then after the captain rework, you couldn't.
Let me see here.
Do the range buffs, so like I think the range is like 16, isn't it?
It is 16. You're right. What's my Colbert?
I know back in the day you could play it with like you could still put range in slot 6 instead of reload, but
yeah.
But
Colbert.
But it's an ultralight cruiser, very small caliber guns, 16
range.
per barrel. If you don't know about Smolensk, right? It's got a ton of guns. Each turret has 4 barrels. It has a very fast rate of fire. It has AP and HE. It has torpedoes. It has hydros. It has smoke. So it's an annoying ship. I played against one last night.
It's an annoying ship.
Well, it's an annoying ship to fight against.
It is.
And I played against one last night. I was in a battleship, and it's one that you're aware of and that you try to keep an eye out for. Oh, is he out of his smoke? I need to take a shot at him now.
Yeah, this is my opportunity.
Smolensk classically is so narrow. So it's so narrow when you look down the bow of it, right? Like that when it's broadside, pretty much everything overpens it, and the Smolensk player laughs. And this is the original T-pose ship I remember people talked about the most. You want to go flat broadside to your enemy with this dumb thing because it's just going to overpen. And that's so frustrating when you're fighting one. But even off angle, it tends to overpen, and that's kind of its magic.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be expensive, and it's available only this way. I think you can get real Smolensk, though, in Christmas boxes still.
I believe that is still true, yes. Cyrus says, I was told in a message while trying to get something fixed, talking with support, that it'd be up for auction soon. So yeah, we'll see what the cost winds up being on this one. You are right though. The range for both this and Colbert, both 16 kilometers, much higher velocity on Smolensk. So it'll have a higher propensity to hit.
These guns are easier to use, and it has torpedoes. This has more tools than Colbert.
And smoke. And, all that stuff. There are other ultralights with smoke that you can use, obviously, but like not a bad boat. And this is an ultra, right? The 130 millimeter guns, so you'll be able to put on that captain skill that gives you boosted damage without having
takes a special captain.
Penalty. So anyway, Smolensk coming soon. It sounds like to an auction near you for people who have too much money. Tirpitz B, we got another German battleship. Tirpitz is Tirpitz. She's a classic. Been around for a long time. Good boat. German hydroless torpedo battleship. I think Tirpitz is one of the oldest premiums in the game. We talked about Atago earlier, also being super old. Tirpitz is kind of in that same age group. 380 millimeters, not 81s, but 380s for the main battery on this. 8 guns altogether. Classic historical real steel battleship. I don't know that there's a ton to say about Tirpitz. She's here. Would I pick her over Massachusetts? No. Would I pick her after Massachusetts if I was looking for a battleship? I don't know. Maybe. It's pretty good. Do you get anything to add on Tirpitz? I feel like this boat's just been talked about.
Tirpitz is like, I think Tirpitz predates the German battleship line. It's it's Bismarck. It's the same as Bismarck. Secondaries and main guns, pretty much everything, except it has torpedoes and Bismarck has hydros, and it's a real and old and stuff, and it's fine. Like it's really hard for me to imagine outside of newer players. Like I feel like a lot of people probably have Tirpitz. And so it is what it is. But like, again, at the price point and with what else is available, I think there's a lot of other newer ships that are available in this sale that are more interesting. But
would you get Tirpitz ahead of Alabama?
Yeah,
I think I would.
I think Alabama's boring.
Yeah, I think Tirpitz is more interesting than Alabama.
This is more interesting, even if you're just like a PVE or a co-op main. This is
for sure
great. PVE, ASIMs, ops and stuff. You can have more fun in this. Alabama's just boring.
And Tirpitz is $31, U.S. money instead of 37 for mass. But it's a $6 difference. So just get the one that you want in that case. But I agree. I think I'd get it over Alabama as well. So Tirpitz is fine, but I think you said it right. People who wanted Tirpitz, who played the game for a long time, that is people who probably are watching streams and things. You guys have a Tirpitz if you wanted one.
It's got to be like a 9-year-old premium at this point, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, easily. Yeah. And so if you don't have it, or if you're just looking for another one for some reason, here it is. But I think it's just been around for so long. But it does mean that Tirpitz B is going to be cheaper than original flavor Tirpitz because it's got the Black Friday discount of 30%. So if you don't have one and you're like, well, I kind of like the idea of that boat, well, here it is. Yeah. And $31 is a pretty good deal for a tier 8 premium. So we'll move along from Tirpitz. This is the last boat. We are to the Y's. Remember, we did these alphabetically. So Yoshino is our last boat to talk about. And we talked about Azuma almost first, like very early in the show. So I'll throw Yoshino your way. What do you think about Yoshino?
Yeah, tier 10 Japanese, super cruiser with, what's it got, like 305s or 330s or something. I don't remember how big the guns are. Same setup as Azuma, but at tier 10 with, I think some better AA, maybe a little bit better armor and torpedoes. So the similar play style in that you kind of hang back in this and shoot HE at people. The AP is good too, but I feel like it's played a certain way by a certain type of player. Not really my cup of tea. I'd much rather play Alaska or Kronstadt or Siegfried or Aegir or Schroeder or a bunch of other tier 9, or this is a tier 10, but a bunch of other large cruisers. And again, Yoshino's been available for coal forever, right? Like it's a coal ship too.
Yes, so you can get
this if you want this, you should get it for coal. It's a very expensive black ship at almost $90 US. That I don't know is really worth what you're doing with it there. But hey, if that's your,
I like the
whatever.
what you're doing with it. I don't know what you're doing with that thing there, fella.
Well,
But it's
what I think
weird.
you're doing with it is taking citadels from battleships at range and shooting fireballs at people in a ship. And I'd rather just play Zhao. And if I wanted a premium, I'd wait for Zhao's CLR.
That is pretty spot on with my take as well. Like I find that with this, the AP doesn't work as well as the HE, and the HE gives me 3,000 damage on a lot of salvos, right? You will get fires, and you can get more than 3k damage. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I see that number a lot when I'm landing salvos, shatter shells or splashes, and then a little 3,000 where I got 1 or 2 pens or whatever. It's fine, it's okay, but like there's a coal version for free, so don't spend $90 on this. Save that money, and take it somewhere else. And actually, I think that kind of takes me to here's a thing that I want to kick around. Let's go into the armory real quick. Go to the cash money page. Uh, uh, Old Uncle Clyde's gonna give you $200 to spend in here, Scotta.
Okay.
What are you gonna get for $200?
I have
That's
nothing.
a lot of money, by the way. You have none of these boats. What's your
okay
$200 boat? I don't know what mine is.
Massachusetts B.
Okay, I got to add that to cart. Yep, I agree.
Okay. Looking at the maths here, I really wanted to be able to get like Massachusetts and Jean Bart and then spend $100 on crates.
Oh yeah.
But I don't have enough for that.
Kilo says $200 worth of crates. So hang on, Massachusetts and Jean Bart it's like 100.
That's a little over 100. So like Massachusetts and Jean Bart and Alaska B. So that's 150 plus 37. So I've got like how much left there? I don't know, like $15 or something left.
Like $20. Let's say it's like $20.
$20. Okay, and then like $20 worth of crates.
Yeah, that's
20. If I had 22.49, I'd buy 5 of the crates, and I'd hope I got something decent out of them, and I wouldn't because I only got 5. But I'd have 3 rad ships.
Yeah, that's not bad. I was thinking Massachusetts and Alaska were my first, like, I got to get those, right? So that's my $110.
Okay.
If you could squeeze it to $210, maybe Rhode Island.
But sure. No, I'd love to include that in there at that price, but
gosh,
that's expensive.
Why did all the prices just disappeared on my client?
That just happened on mine at the exact same time.
Okay, so something's wrong with the website. But like
I refreshed and they came back. I think they knew we were talking about the prices, so they've adjusted them.
They're like,
oh wow, Massachusetts is now $38. What'd they do?
Mine did not come back in the game, but no, I think Massachusetts, Alaska is a pretty good deal. I could see spending some of the bucks on crates after that. Scrolling down to the little squares down below. A lot of these are in the coal section, right? So I'd probably go get coal ships, maybe Atago. I can't remember what it costs, like 30 or $35 or whatever, but throw it in there. But I think for me, Massachusetts, Alaska would be pretty high on the list. Jean Bart's great, but I'd probably just go grind some steel and get Bourgogne. You know what I mean? So I'd be like, I'm good. Thanks, Jean Bart. I appreciate it, but I'm gonna go get Bourgogne.
Yeah, if you could work out Alaska, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island, but you could also get Massachusetts, Alaska, and Karl.
Yeah, Karl's only $62, isn't it?
I think Jean Bart's better because you can only get it this way. So that's kind of why I'm like those 3.
Yeah. I hear that.
And honestly, like I like Jean Bart probably better than Alaska. That's just me. But so like I'd be like Massachusetts, Jean Bart, and then if I couldn't get Alaska as well, I'd be like, well, that's where I'm going to stop. And honestly, you look at that, like $37 and $74, so you're like at around $110, which is around what Rhode Island costs at 106. And I know it's a 10, but I'd rather have that 8 and that 9 than that 110. But that's just me.
No, I agree. I mean, I think that might be the sweet spot there. And yeah, if you did Alaska, Jean Bart, Massachusetts, that's not a bad combo. Those 3 either.
Alternatively,
Mm-hmm.
50 Black Friday premium crates and let it ride.
Let it ride. Just see what the math comes out. How much is that? What
Let
you
it-
wind up being able to afford?
You can get 50 of them for 200.
Yeah. 25 twice. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
pretty good.
and
I mean,
I'd get me a Sims that way.
ooh, baby, you get the Sims. You get the
I'd certainly
Munchen.
get an Yoshino and an Azuma and a Munchen. It would just
Oh man, sorry. My cough is getting bad.
That's the trick of the RNG in the crates, folks, is
You're
it
making me
knows
laugh.
what you don't want and it gives you that.
Yeah. Your ship chance there is 12%, right? So if you went and bought 50 boxes,
Mhm.
you would wind up with something like, I don't know, 12%, like 5 ships maybe.
With my personal luck on crates,
Mhm.
I would get 8 ships.
Yeah, you probably would. You would get
I
it
can
chips and
tell
you'd be
you-
like, I don't
I
know,
can tell
Clyde.
you-
I can't tell you.
I can tell you that I assume if I bought 50, I would get 7 or 8 ships.
Yeah, that's
But
pretty fun.
because the way now, to be fair, I think in these boxes everything's weighted the same.
I'd have to look at them again, but yeah,
It's just
it looks
one
that way.
ship pool at 12%, which is dope.
Yeah,
Because I'm used to the boxes where it's like, no, 50% Sims is.
yeah,
And then it'd be
exactly.
like, you know,
And then like 0.0001% yeah,
percent
for
Rhode
anything else.
Island, right?
But these are all one ship group, so it is a random luck of the draw whether you get, you know, Munchen or Brandenburg or Cossack or
I may make this video for you. I might just buy $200 worth of those just to get Rhode Island and Karl and Neustra and
yeah,
whatever else is in here that I don't have. What else don't I have that's in here?
Yeah,
Those ones. I don't think Shill's in these boxes. And Puerto Rico and Smolensk aren't. So I don't need to buy $200 worth of them to get the 3 ships. I could buy 125 pack and get the 3 ships I don't have.
And that's, again, for those who are a little curious what we're talking about. I think a lot of you guys know, but because Scott has a large number of the ships, you won't get duplicates, and so he's kind of eliminated a lot of the choices. So he doesn't need to get 8 boats in order to get the 4
I also have
boats
no
that
reason
are
to get
left
those because I have the non-black variants already,
that's
and the
thing,
missions.
and it
The
might be
missions
better
they
to
would
save
give
money.
me would be of no value to me, really.
All right, one more question. I'm going to go back to the armory view here. What do you think are your like top 3 tier 8s that are in here? Now we talked about Massachusetts already. I'm pretty sure that's going to be on your list.
Massachusetts. I got to go back to that view. Massachusetts. I just lost all the prices again. Atago.
Mainz maybe.
Yeah, maybe Mainz or Atago. If I was a dork, I'd say Chkalov. Chkalov is probably the best of the CVs in here, but I don't know that I'd need it. Yeah, certainly I like Mainz. Maybe Mainz and Brandenburg in Massachusetts. Maybe Asashio because you can't get it anymore and it's kind of fun.
Yeah. For
Alabama.
Me, it might be Mainz, Atago, Mass.
Yeah.
I'm a big Loyang fan, but I think like Mainz and Atago to me are probably, I don't know, it might be Atago, Loyang, and Mass, but
Cossack's the right answer if you wanted a DD because it's the most powerful one, but you and I don't like it a lot.
Yeah.
And I always think I'm going to do better in Loyang than I do, but then I don't. I
think that's a fair assessment because I feel like that's true for me too. Yeah. No, those are pretty good. C says Mass, Cossack, and Mainz. I think Cossack is definitely one that would get a lot of love from folks who'd be doing this same kind of thought experiment as well. But yeah, I don't know. This was good. I'm glad we talked through the Black Friday ships. I know it's something we've kind of kicked around doing, and for some of the ships we kind of speed ran them, especially as it's getting later here, because I've got work in the morning. But this was definitely a worthwhile list. I had a good time talking through them.
It's a wide variety of some really rare, hard to get, really good stuff, and some clunkers. And so it's kind of an interesting wad of stuff that they have available, and they've been doing it now for a number of years, and they just keep adding to it. And again, I think Munchen is like the only one that they didn't bring back.
Like straight up back for
Straight up, like it's yeah. So that's kind of
such a
interesting.
weird.
but-
When I noticed that last night, I messaged for chat's benefit. I messaged Scott and I go, "Hey, check it out. Munchen's not available, but you can still get out of the crates." And your immediately response was, "Well, that's the headline of this whole story. Like, let's go
Yeah,
with that."
I was like, I know what the title card for this video on YouTube's gonna be. Munchen B withheld from market. Super rare.
Inexplicably. Yeah. Munchen, rarest black ship? Question mark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it's gotta be. All right, well, this was fun,
No, this
and
was
I'll
good.
let
I
you
should
go
let
because
you go. I
I
should go
I
too.
need you to report to work at a decent time tomorrow.
Yeah,
so I'm
and
gonna
I
let
will
you go.
do just that. But thanks for joining me tonight, Scott. Take care, buddy.
All right, night, everybody.
All right, I'm going to disconnect from the chat. Thanks everybody for watching Ship Show with us today. We're going to do our YouTube sign off now. So if you are watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a good time with us. And if this video was useful for you and you know anybody else who might find it useful, please share it with them. If you're watching with us now on chat, I normally would go back and play another game before we close up, but tonight we'll go back and I'll wrap up and punch out because it is after midnight, and as Scott had mentioned, I have to go to work tomorrow at a reasonable hour that a responsible adult would go to work. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in our next video, live stream, or battle. Take care, guys.